absolutely uncomfortably sweltering, right?
And that weekend.
That's the hallmark
this
of
weekend,
the first weekend.
Yeah, it's going to bring the heat this weekend, and perhaps the pitchers will bring the heat on the diamond.
Oh, lovely segue.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hour one presented by Union Bank and Trust. People don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. And we are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason. Yours. He is John Schreiner. I am Josh Peterson. Coming up on the show today, we will take you up to Stanford and Arkansas. First pitch for that one scheduled a little after 1 o'clock, so we will be on until 12:40. Later on tonight, Auburn and Ole Miss. And in between those two games, another show, of course, that today will be Robbie, Lula, and Rob Love. They will be on in between those games. Mike Farron's going to stop by very early. He might be walking over literally as we speak. So Farron will join us in a little bit. We can look back on what happened yesterday. Certainly the runs in that first game were the story. We'll talk about that and whatever else tickles Mike Farron's fancy. Mitch Sherman's going to stop by in the second hour of the show. A couple of different things with Mitch, John. We can, of course, talk about the series, but he wrote a really good piece that went up on The Athletic yesterday about the 2007 recruiting class for Nebraska in the state of Arizona and some of the twists and turns, the good and the bad for those 5 players after Javario Burks' tragic passing in 2020. Had a chance to talk to a lot of the other players and coaches, Bill Bush among them, about that recruiting class. So we'll talk about that with Mitch. It was a really good story. One of those ones where you read it and you I don't know about you, and we'll talk about the story a little bit later, but a lot of emotion certainly came up when I was reading.
Yeah, it's just a lot of memory, and a lot of those are good memories from those teams and those players, and it just brings up a lot of names that you think about. Like, they had so much success at Nebraska and went on to some really good things.
Yeah, and so we'll talk about that. Plus, that class, the 2007 recruiting class, that's when I graduated high school. So I'm the same age as a lot of these guys, and so seeing where some of them are at now, where some of them, wish they could be, it was a really good story. So we'll talk about that with Mitch in the 11 o'clock hour. And then, near the very end of the show, Stitchhead, Eric Sorensen, D1Baseball.com, he'll stop by, and we'll talk a little bit more about what is to come today, and also we can look back a little bit at what happened yesterday. If you would like to communicate with us, you can do so on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. I mean, I don't even know who to tell people to tweet at, so just do it to the kind of normal things that you would send us a tweet. I'm monitoring everything. I got at USC 1620 up.
Tweet at President Obama or something.
I mean, and tag us in that.
Yeah, tag us.
Yeah.
Tweet at, I don't know, the Pope.
Okay, well, I'm not going to go look in the Pope's mentions.
Okay.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever searched on Twitter somebody's mentions that is very, very famous?
Yes.
And then it basically breaks your computer for 5 minutes because there's too much scrolling?
Right. Yeah.
Lady Gaga's feed, for example.
And a lot of it is very bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
Things that I don't think I need to see anymore.
The fans of those people.
Of the world famous people.
A bit much for me.
Yeah. I think if and this is a big if.
Okay.
If I achieved that level of notoriety, I don't know that I would want to be on social media.
No, I think I'd probably delete
just shut her down.
There's got to be a nice number where, like follower count, where you're like, this is a good sweet spot. I can still communicate with the people that pay attention to me, but I can also ignore them if I want to. Like, there's got to be a nice, like Mike Farron. Who knows? He's thousands of followers. Baseball fans all over the world love Mike Farron. I mean, just a few people.
It's got to be above like 250 because I think that's where I am.
250?
Yeah.
Oh, total. I thought you were saying
followers,
1,000, 250,000.
No.
1,000.
No. But, also those super famous people probably look at their social media feeds once a month.
Oh,
they have someone handling.
Yeah, I would never check my mentions. Speaking of Mike Farron, he is here. Me? Then you wouldn't be able to roast me.
Josh, there's so many ways to roast you.
Like how? How would you roast me today?
We're basically turning you on a spit anytime you're awake.
Yeah, that's true. I wake up, I usually check my mentions, and there's Mike Farron making fun of me for something.
Yeah, I mean, Bishop set me up this morning.
You and Bishop and Cougar. All three of you guys just coming at me hard.
It's the holy trinity of trolling.
Yeah, exactly. How are you today?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Terrific first day. It's great to be back. Missed this event, so it's been a lot of fun.
How long has it been since you've been back?
7 years.
7 years.
Oh,
2015 was the last time I was here. Then I took some job in Arizona and was kind of busy during the season.
That one.
Yeah.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah. So now, now that I'm just kind of filling in for them, it's great. So I get to be back here for a while, and it was really fun first day, and some interesting stuff happened.
Yeah, speaking of, Mike, let's talk about game one, because the conversation with you over the last month, whenever we talk college baseball, was about the runs that were scored in the regionals. We were wondering if that would keep up. Not only did it keep up, but the most combined runs ever scored in a Men's College World Series game in this ballpark, the most scored since 2008. I can't imagine you were surprised. Were you surprised that it happened that fast?
I don't know. I mean, I think there were a couple of things that were at play at it, right? Like, A&M's defense kind of set them up for it. You got an Oklahoma team that's red hot. But if you saw where the ball was traveling, I do think that I don't know if it's what's been built around the ballpark, but or just what happened with the weather yesterday. It definitely seems like there's more of a jet stream from the right field power out from the 375 sign to the bullpen than there was when the ballpark first opened. Some of that might be the flat seam balls. I know everybody's got a ball conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
I think that even Sloss was talking about it, right?
Really?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
I mean, I don't know that I necessarily buy that. I think that there is a bigger factor in the fact that most of the pitching over the last couple of years that's really good has either been hurt or drafted, and we've got men playing with teenagers now because we've got a lot of 24 and 25-year-olds. Power develops later, right? So I think those are big factors in it. But the ballpark played a little bit differently than even I remember in 15. 15, if I remember right, the ball traveled pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit cooler, and so I felt like that helped. But this was, I guess I was just a little bit surprised in that, but everybody had been telling me, no, there's a jet stream now to right field towards the bullpen. And that's kind of what we saw, right? One of the home runs went to right field yesterday, and the other one was down the line left.
All right, so you don't buy Schlossnagel's ball conspiracy?
I think it's a little tougher in college baseball to have. I mean, listen, all of this stems from pro ball, right, where they have had, remarkable inconsistencies with the baseball over the course of the last 5 years. And so it's easy to jump in on that. And I'm not sure that, to me, a conspiracy means that there's intent to do it. I don't think that that's the case. I think in the case of professional baseball, they just haven't managed it well, and they have a credibility issue because they can't get in front of it. I think, to me, the last 2 years is more about the size of the guys. And I would not be surprised. I think it was Skip Johnson was talking a little bit about this yesterday, too. Like, did you see this? Or no, Lincoln Jarrett was after the game and talking about, all of his guys being graduate students. He's got it's a lot of 24-year-olds right on that roster. And so I think once you see that, us get through the COVID seniors, I think you're going to see things change.
So I was going to say, this is going to be something that next year or the year after that we can look back on the 2022 season and say, whether it was maybe someone with the baseballs or, like your theory, that it's just a bunch of guys.
I think there's some other things at play, too. In terms of, guys are trying to hit the ball in the air more consistently from the youth level on up. That's been a focus. Line drives are balls in the air too, right? But there has been such an emphasis on trying to get the ball in the air. The most efficient device for scoring runs is a home run, right? So, and the other part is that for some reason all of this gets talked about as a negative. Josh, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like, tell me those regionals weren't
exactly
with the ball falling out of the ballpark. One of the things that we missed in the first 5 years, at least in this part, was the threat of the home run bringing a team back.
Yes.
What happened with A&M yesterday, they made a game of it, right? Like, if Skip Johnson doesn't go and bring in Michael at that moment, who knows what's happening? Because the wheels were, it was getting a little wobbly for Oklahoma, right? So I think that there are a couple things in play in there, but I don't think, as much as there's complaints about this and this and this, it's not just that the home runs are great for fans, but the threat of the home run is really important for keeping excitement.
I think early on in this part, there was a lot of argument about what was better for the game. Was it the Rosenblatt style of play where you had a lineup of lumberjacks who just put the ball over the wall? Or when it came here and there was a lot of pitching dominated, small ball, you have to manufacture runs. Where would you have we kind of hit a sweet spot now with this?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit sweeter. I would argue that the first couple of years of this ballpark, the small ball didn't work either because you're playing basically 7 infielders because the outfielders are so shallow, it's very difficult to score at all. So, and small ball to me is, listen, there are some elements of it. Notre Dame plays a pretty good small ball game, right? Like it's contact, it's hit and run, it's those things. as opposed to, I think small ball instantly means bunts. Well, giving away outs isn't particularly smart, So I mean, you only get 27 of them, right? That's the clock in baseball. That's the time. So you have 27 of them, so you better use them judiciously. And if you start just willy-nilly giving them away, you're reducing your opportunities. So I think that it is more balanced, but I think some of that was, remember, the park was built just at the beginning of the BB Core era, and one of the issues was we're coming out of the drop 5 bats, right, with the prevailing wind blowing out of Rosenblatt and creating 21-14 games. And so between that and the wind and like everything, I think that helped to do it. When they flattened the seams on the baseball, that made a huge balance.
Mike Farron joining us here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Mike, you got credit within the last few days for something that you didn't say, and that was Notre Dame pulling the upset.
Yeah, that was Stitch.
That was Stitch. He'll join us a little bit later. But what impresses you most about the Irish as they pick up another win last night and just continue the good times?
That is a pro offensive approach. I mean, we were talking about it after the game on our post game last night, and just like what they did against Pete Hansen was what professional hitters do against pitchers. Pete Hansen, to me, was the best starting pitcher in this tournament. And it's because he can work to both sides of the plate with his fastball. He's got a decent changeup. He's got a great slider that he can throw to lefties and righties. And with the right-handed hitters to Notre Dame, I felt like they did. And I didn't get a chance to ask Link about this after the game, but to me, they eliminated the inside part of the plate as much as possible. So anything that was going to start middle and come in, they were going to lay off, even if it was going to get called a strike. Now, they got some benefit in that it was a tight zone inside the righties, too. But they were basically going to give Hansen that pitch with the idea that they weren't going to chase the slider, push him out over the plate. I thought that was tremendous. And then, they run the bases really aggressively. They make good decisions for the most part on the base paths. They put the ball in play. There wasn't a lot of chase. They just had a great game plan. And I think the other thing with Notre Dame is that they can beat you a lot of different ways. There's a little bit of slug in that lineup, right? So they can turn on one here and there, but they're built well for this ballpark. I actually think Auburn is pretty similar to them in that they've got some power, but they also can move the ball around the field. And I thought it was just an incredibly impressive outing. And then, John Michael Bertrand did not pitch well against Tennessee. And for him to come out with a giant smile on his face as he was coming off the field, that's a pretty potent Texas offense. He controlled them really well yesterday.
FanDuel has them as the favorite now to win it all. What do you think about that?
I think I'm assuming that they want Notre Dame fans' money.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Isn't that what gets baked into a line?
Oh,
right?
That's definitely a part of it. Oh, right? Yeah.
I mean, listen, they're really good. I thought Texas played a good game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they're like, if not for two absolute C's hit at Brannigan, like if those balls in the 7th inning are like a foot to his left, we're talking back-to-back doubles. It's a 2-run game, and the top of the order is coming up for Texas. And then all of a sudden, Link Jarrett's having to make a decision. When do I go to Finley? And do I want to do that where he's got to face Ivan Melendez with men on base, right? Like, even if I'm looking at, okay, I'm going to bring him in for Kennedy, well, like, there's nobody out or one out and a man on, and you're going to have the lefty facing Melendez in that spot. Like, the margin was still, even though it was 7-3 for a final, the margin was still pretty thin. I would not be surprised if those two teams end up having to meet again.
Yeah.
That said, like, don't sleep on Oklahoma because that offense is electric.
Let's look ahead a little bit to the first game of today. A lot of local interest around here. Everybody still kind of cheers for Dave Van Horn around here today. Do you think the Hogs have what it takes to finally get in the championship?
Well, I mean, I think they certainly played a lot better in the last month of the season than they did throughout most of the year. We are so tied into recency bias that we forget that a year ago, going into super regionals, Arkansas was Tennessee. Now, they weren't quite as dominant as Tennessee was in the SEC, right? They didn't win 25 SEC regular season games. But that was the number one team. That was the team that was going to win the College World Series. And most of that personnel is back. Now, no Peyton Collette has been a huge impact on them. But Connor Noland is pretty solid. And moving Hagen-Smith to the bullpen has made a big difference. That's a veteran lineup with guys that are swinging the bat extremely well. I think, Caden Wallace is one of the best two-way players, not pitching, hitting, but hitting and defender in the tournament, the way Jalen Battles has swung the bat here, like I think there's a lot to like with Arkansas. That said, like Nolan has to pitch well. Alex Williams hasn't pitched great of late for Stanford. This has a chance to be a really high-scoring game between these two teams because I think the most physical team on the field is Stanford, and that offense is really, really good. And whether it's Brock Jones or Drew Bowser or Cody Huff, they're battle tested, and they've won some big games. And they've faced 5 elimination games already this postseason. Like, and they're still here, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's not going to be an easy test coming out of that bracket if DVH is going to finally get a championship and if Arkansas is finally going to get a championship. Do I think they can come out of that side? Yeah, I do. But today is going to be bonkers. Like, get ready because I would not be surprised if this was 11-9, 4.5 hours. Like, strap in, get excited. Now that it's going to be 3-1.
He is Mike Farron of SiriusXM. Not only is he doing the pregame, not only is he doing the in-between shows, he's even doing a post-game show.
Baby, I came to work.
He absolutely did.
He's been out of the game for 7 years. He's here to take it all in.
Well, Mike, it's so good to see you. It's nice to have you roast me in person instead of just on Twitter.
Oh, it's so nice to roast you.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, good to chat with you. Enjoy the game today. Have a great show.
Yeah, thank you.
And another great show, and then another great show.
And I'm just relieved that John and I didn't have to talk White Sox because I know when we ran into each other last night, it's like I have a lot of questions.
So does the team.
He is Mike Barron. Thank you very much, Mike. All right, more to come when we return. He's John Schreiner. Sitting in today, I'm Josh Peterson. We want to welcome to our partner, ADT Solar. Joining us on site this weekend, ADT Solar, powering homes, empowering people. More to come live from the OBV here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, I need a favor.
What's
Can
up?
you help me with 4 for tomorrow?
Morning, getting you ready for Game 3 of the College World Series, Stanford versus Arkansas. Hour 1 presented by Union Bank and Trust. People don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. We are also powered by Brookside Medical. Revolutionary treatment for ED. He's John Schreiner. I am Josh Peterson. Just mentioned Game 1 that will be starting in a little under 3 hours. Stanford versus Arkansas. And John, while we were talking with Mike Farron just a moment ago, we spent the majority of the latter part of the conversation previewing this first game between Stanford and Arkansas. And young Braden was standing behind Mike Farron, and man, he is excited and he is ready to go. He's ready to go.
All right, tell us what your name is.
Braden Lynham.
All right, Braden, where are you from?
Rector, Arkansas.
And how was the drive up to Omaha? Would you guys stop anywhere? What'd you do on the way?
Oh, we went to Branson.
All right, Branson,
nice.
That's a good time. How do you feel about the Hogs this season?
How do I feel about them? At first, I felt like we weren't going to do anything. But then when we got to the postseason, they proved me all wrong. Now I'm ready. We're going to win this thing.
Now, Braden, before John's going to ask another question in just a moment, but last year, Nebraska, of course, and Arkansas, they had a very memorable series down there. Do you want to maybe apologize to the Husker fans for breaking their hearts last season?
I'm sorry. Oh, wait. I'm not sorry.
Fair.
All right, Braden, before we let you go, we got to get you to do one thing for us. Can you give us a woo pig?
Woo pig suey. Beat Stanford. We're going to win it all. Woo pig.
Nice. Thanks for stopping by, man. Enjoy the game today. Thanks for coming to Omaha. That is Braden hanging out here at the Omaha Baseball Village. You, too, can come to the Omaha Baseball Village. And there's a variety of things, including Josh walking back and forth, doing a great job, as he often does, doing a whole lot of stuff. We're having an awesome time. We're going to get lemonade very soon.
Ooh, so excited.
Very, very excited about it.
You went regular, I went strawberry.
Yeah, you went strawberry. Speaking of hydration, by the way, 1620 The Zone, live hydration sponsors, Coors Light. Time for a hydration break, presented by Coors Light. Keep Nebraska chill. All right, let's look back for a moment at what happened yesterday. John, we were talking about it with Farron. That first game, incredible. We were wondering, hey, can the offense continue? Not only does it continue, but literally ended up being the highest scoring game that has happened in this ballpark. A tweet from Mitch Sherman, who's going to join us in about an hour. Texas A&M scores 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th to cut Oklahoma's lead to 12-8. We're watching the highest scoring CWS game ever at this 11-year-old park, and the last game with more runs came in 2008 when Fresno State beat Georgia 19-10 in Game 2 of the championship series. So we saw that, and I'm not surprised, but I'm with Farron. Like, this is a fun conversation to have. The ones that we were having about a decade ago, 7 years ago, that was not a good time, and people were really frustrated with the ballpark. I think that this is awesome that we had not only a 13-8 game, that's a lot of runs, but even 7-3 in the nightcap, still a good amount of runs where maybe for those of you who don't like the gorilla ball, maybe that's a little more palatable.
I was thinking about this, and I wanted to ask you, because I have an idea. What is sort of your ideal baseball score that feels like it's balanced, right? That you get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, because I'm good, before I answer, I'm good with the 13-8. I love a good pitcher's duel. Like, I always think You're going to be very jealous. Welcome back to the Omaha Baseball Village here at the Men's College World Series. It is day 2. Starting to see a lot more folks as we get closer to first pitch between Arkansas and Stanford. Later tonight, by the way, Auburn and Ole Miss will get going. That game's scheduled. We'll see what happens, but scheduled for 6:10. And you can come by the Zone booth inside of Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson and downtown Omaha. Also, if you come inside, I mean, there's a variety of things to do, many things to buy, many things to look at and perhaps not buy. We're enjoying right now some delicious lemonades from the lemonade stand. It's
Josh here for browsing.
I love browsing. I love window shopping. I'm very good at window. I might not be good shopping. I hope Nick is listening right now. I'm not very good at regular shopping, but I am very good at window shopping. But one of my favorite parts every year about the Men's College World Series is the lemonade. And
we got them, baby.
We were talking about it off air. Like, I hope that we get to enjoy some delicious lemonades today. Boom, delicious lemonades. Also, now we have some sunflower seeds in front of us.
These look amazing.
So it's so funny.
Chinook Cedary.
You know, now you're a green text guy, so I don't know if you have the group, if you have the group chats. Fellow green texter. So
Fist bump on
us superior blue texters, we of course have the group chats with the thumbs up emojis, the ha-has. Anyway, in one of the group chats this week, lots of conversation about, is it Chinook? Chinook sunflower seeds, and now we have 6-packs. I cannot wait to try them later on. And I'm going to send a picture to the group chat, and my friends will be jealous.
They brought us the original, which you can't go wrong with an original.
For the record, I am an original sunflower seed kind of guy.
Put this one on your side.
Yep, definitely.
They also brought us a hatch chili flavor, which I'm excited about.
Which you grabbed very quickly.
Parmesan and pepper.
Dill pickle.
And jalapeno ranch.
And smokehouse barbecue.
So
they've
got some interesting flavors. Come down and check out Chinook Cedary here in the Baseball Village. Thanks to them for providing us with activities while we're sitting up in the press box.
So you said that there is a reason why people love the College World Series. Is it because of the sunflower seeds?
It is because of the sunflower.
And the lemonade.
That's the end of it.
And the lemonade.
So I've just been thinking about this, and it's occurred to me why everyone loves the College World Series and why they think it's so special. And, you know, it's in Omaha, and the local population here really supports it well, and that's a big part of it. But you think about this compared to other collegiate championship events, the national championship game, the Final Four, right? If you're an average Joe fan, you're probably not going to those events.
You're talking about like a normal budgetary.
On a normal budget, middle-class guy or woman, doesn't matter.
Women are allowed to be sports fans.
Those tickets, the cost is prohibitive.
Yes.
You can't go.
Especially
for the most part.
Yeah, the Final Four national championship game was very difficult.
They're hard to get the tickets as well. Like, it's not easy to find those tickets. At the College World Series, the average fan can walk up to the GA ticket window, buy a ticket, and be in the stands to watch a team play for a national championship. It's not hard. You walk up to the window, you pay, what is it, $20, $25 now for a GA ticket?
And they're not even GA anymore, remember?
What used to be GA. In the
got a reserved seat.
Outfield seats, I suppose we should call it.
RIP the Lions.
But it's an event for everybody. It's not an elite, I have to spend $5,000 on a ticket plus whatever it costs me to get to wherever this event is. The College World Series is the common fans event. This is every fan's event. And I think that's why it feels so special, is because people actually get to be here, and they get to be in the atmosphere, and they get to watch their teams compete for a national championship.
Man, it's funny because I didn't know where you were going to go with it,
because I think you ask 100 fans locally and otherwise about why they love the event. I think you're probably going to get 100 different answers. And so when you told me about this earlier, I was trying to think of the reasons that I have loved coming to the event over the years and why it meant so much for me as a kid in particular. And I'll often think of the Father's Day game, how that was a tradition in our family for a while, where sometimes it was myself, my two brothers, and my dad. Sometimes it was just one of my brothers and my dad, and so we just kind of switched it off. But you saying what you did does get the gears going, because my things weren't always affordable for us.
Exactly.
And yet, I mean, I don't know what was the first year I went to the College World Series, because we moved back to Nebraska in July of 97. We moved to Omaha in July of 97. I know I went to a few here and there in the late 90s, early 2000s, but it was an event. No matter what year it was, we were always going. And so I think you might have hit on something.
Yeah, I just, and there are a lot of things to love about the event.
Sure.
The vendors and the food and the atmosphere and the people and the parties and the downtown scene and all of that. Those are all good things.
Shows.
But I think those are auxiliary to the point that if it was so expensive to get into the games, as it is in the Final Four or the national championship in football, none of this would be here, because there wouldn't be enough people to support it. The fact that people can come and they can afford to go to the games makes the event what it is. That's the heart of the issue, is that you can get fans from all walks of life, whether they're, the top 10% or
the 1%,
middle class folks, working class folks. Like, anybody can come and you can get a ticket and you can be in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is what makes this event different from all, the Super Bowl, the Final Four, the national championship.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I would add, like, obviously the move from Rosenblatt to here, some people love it, some people don't. Some people are pretty lukewarm. I think we can all agree that some of the charm, at least, was lost from the move from that stadium, just given that ballpark was very particular, very specific in its own unique ways, whereas this one is not. So it lost some of that, and yet the event is still, like it always is every year, it's still lots of fans, still 25K a game or so, still the vendors, still all the stuff surrounding it. And so and obviously prices have gone up, because prices have gone up everywhere in the last 10 years. But yet it still seems like people love this event, maybe for different reasons than they once did, but at the very least they can still bring their families.
Yeah. What do you say? There's no keg parties in the yard across the street at the house on 13th.
Yeah.
There's no Dingerville anymore, which that was the one thing that I really wish that they would have found a way to build in, a little RV park out beyond the center field wall somewhere that the LSU fans could park their barbecue trucks and have a little Dingerville. But as you say, it did lose some of that. It was almost like a small town event when it was at Rosenblatt, right? Because it was right in the middle of a neighborhood, and there were houses across the street, and people were parking cars in the yard, and as I said, keg parties, and just open the door and let people flood into your house.
Some of my big memories are like walking down the hill or walking up the hill after the game,
right.
And people selling bottles of water out of their, coolers, and then getting down there, and you'd have like the vendors that were not inside of the area. So they'd be like cheaper food. And so we'd always go to those vendors instead.
Yeah, they'd have those tiny little tents that they set up on the easement next to the sidewalk because it's public property.
Uh-huh. The card shop, of course.
Yes.
Dad, can I get a Sports Illustrated from 1989? Sometimes he'd buy them for me.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Can you get a Barry Bonds card from 1986?
Josh, no, that's $250. We're not buying a Barry Bonds card. Okay, sorry.
But as this stadium was built, and it has become more controlled, more corporatized, everything has more polish for sure.
Definitely.
It's much more shined up, but I think it has kept, it's called Baseball Village, and it has this whole tent city around here that kind of collects everybody into that community feel and still makes it a really good event. But back to the point was that you can go to this thing. And that's what makes it great.
Yeah. Hour one presented by Union Bank and Trust. People don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. He is John Schreiner. I am Josh Peterson. Still to come on this morning's show into the early part of the afternoon. Mitch Sherman will join us in about 45 minutes. We can talk about the series so far. We can also talk about his really good story about the 2007 Nebraska recruiting class, specifically in the state of Arizona, and specifically one player, Javario Burks, and his passing in 2020, and maybe what it did for some of those other players. A total of 5 guys signed out of that state in 2007, and some look back and say he was actually the best of them all. And his career had to deal with some stuff in his time at Nebraska, some health issues. A really good story that he wrote on The Athletic went up yesterday. So we'll talk about that stuff and more. Eric Sorensen's going to stop by in the final hour, talk a little NBA, talk some more, of course, about the games that we have seen and the games that we will see moving forward. And, I mean, who knows what else? Who knows what else is to come?
We don't know where this is going.
I have no idea.
We're just in the train, on the tracks, rolling along.
Long for the ride. So more to come. We will wrap up hour number 1 when we continue. Josh Hodson hanging out with us down here in Omaha Baseball Village. Chance Oliver back producing in studio. He's John Schreiner. I'm Josh Peterson. We continue next on 1620 The Zone.
Summer's here, and there's no better time to call the professionals at Patera Landscaping for the perfect landscape. You've heard the jingle, you've noticed the red Patera trucks, and admired the beautiful Patera landscapes in your neighborhood. Patera has been named Omaha's Best and won Omaha's Choice Award and Reader's Choice Award. So put the best to work for you in creating your perfect landscape. Visit PateraLandscaping.com. That's PateraLandscaping.com. When you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
If you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
Woodhouse offers confidence as your trusted auto partner. With 18 brands and 16 convenient full-service dealerships, you can easily shop the latest models, discover a pre-owned vehicle that meets your list of must-haves, or conveniently maintain your current vehicle. And our knowledgeable and local team is ready to help, providing you the solutions to get you on the road faster, whether online at woodhouse.com or in person. Experience the difference with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
You never know who might be hiding a problem with sports betting because it can affect anyone. Dads, moms, teachers, lawyers, blue collar, white collar, PhDs, community heroes. But there's one thing we want you to know. It doesn't matter who you are. What does matter is getting help. Contact 1-800-BETS-OFF. No judgment, just help. Be number 1 at getting help.
Brought to you by the Iowa Department of Public Health and Heartland Family Service.
There's a place that's shaped by more than county lines and state borders. It's a place we call home, where moments are shared, where communities are strengthened, and life's special memories happen right here. No matter what home is to you, we're the local bank that can help you make the most of it, because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
At Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, with 2 locations in Greater Omaha, you'll find the Metro's largest selection of wines, beers, spirits, and more, from wall to wall. Enjoy premium samples every day and talk with experts who can help you find your favorites or maybe try something new. There's even a temperature-controlled walk-in wine room and humidor. Don't forget to join the Wall-to-Wall Rewards program at walltowallwine.com. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 132nd and West Center Road and Shadow Lake Town Center in Papillion.
Security equipment makes sure you're always safe at home or away. SEI gives you time to focus on what really matters. Whether it's your home or business, they handle protecting your life and property by monitoring for security, fire, carbon monoxide, flood, and temperature. 24/7, 365. SEI makes lives easier by connecting services like security, video, automation, and access control in one system. Visit SEIsecurity.com to set up a free consultation. SEI, your safety is our business. SEI is an authorized Residio partner.
Across the country, more than 3,000 people were killed by distracted driving. 3,000 mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, and friends. In Nebraska, distracted driving-related crashes have gone up 32% since 2010. That's 4,500 crashes, 1,500 injured, and more than 100 dead. Using your phone while you drive is illegal. Drive safely. Somebody's waiting for you back home.
Visit nedrivingconcern.org. Brought to you by the Nebraska chapter of the National Safety Council and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
1620 The Zone and Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream are giving our listeners and baseball fans the chance to win big. Come by the Zone booth at the Bullpen inside Omaha Baseball Village during the college baseball tournament and register to win a summer vacay prize pack of a grill, KC Royals tickets, a gas card, and ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. 1620 The Zone and Ted and Wally's want your summer vacay to be cool. We'll see you at the Bullpen inside Omaha Baseball Village, June 17th through the 26th.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, Here for a Reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, John Schreiner with you from the Omaha Baseball Village, Hour 1, presented by Union Bank and Trust. People don't have your money. Your money has people. Member FDIC. And another shout-out to our partner, ADT Solar, welcoming to our partner, ADT Solar, joining us on site this weekend. ADT Solar, powering homes, empowering people. He is John Schreiner. I'm Josh Peterson. John, of course, it is Father's Day weekend, as we were just discussing some of my memories of going to games with my dad as a kid. And so because of that, you wander around in here, and you're going to, of course, see some dads, see them with their kids. But what you don't always get is that big-time dad energy. Sometimes the dad energy can be like,
that's a different BDE.
Yeah, it can be awesome. Like, I love the dad energy from that guy. Sometimes it gives you a little PTSD from when you were a kid and you had to deal with some of the dad energy if you maybe did something wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm wandering
Negative dad energy.
Wandering around a moment ago, and I hear, hey, hold on to your, I don't know what it was, something that was purchased here. Hold on to that. And then I hear it drop, clank, clank, clank. And immediately, son, I told you to hold on to it, not to throw it around. And I was like, that is some dad energy.
That is big dad energy.
I can hear my dad saying something to be like that, I don't know, like 5 months ago. But I can hear my dad say, Josh, do this. And then I don't do it. Josh, I told you, do this.
Told you that was going to happen.
The dad energy is strong inside of the Omaha Baseball Village.
One of the things that my dad used to say to us, like once we got a little bit older, and we would doing things in our careers or what have you, and come to him with some realization, and he'd be like, Dad's not so stupid after all, huh? That was his go-to phrase. And yeah, Dad's not so dumb after all, huh?
I always hated when it's like, hey, Josh, go find whatever in the cabinet. And so I'd go over and look. Dad, I can't find it. And you just know, okay,
Dad's gonna find it.
I'll find it. He'd walk up 2 seconds. Like, what? But I looked, Dad, I looked. You didn't look hard enough. I know.
Oh, here's another classic one from my dad.
Happy Father's Day.
In that
vein,
he would, Dad, I can't find this tool that you want me to find. He'd walk over to the toolbox and just reach in and pull it out. And he'd say, if it was a snake, it would have bit you.
Yeah, that is a dad statement.
Oh, that's a dad phrase. Yeah.
Gosh, if we had the full show tomorrow together, I'd almost want the friends of the station, if you will, to send in some of those patented dad phrases.
Oh yeah.
I mean, heck, they can do it anyway. At USC
send them
at 1620.
Send your dad phrases.
The dad phrases. You are a dad.
I'm a dad now.
Do you got the dad phrase, or is your little one just a little too little still?
No, he's 5 now, so
prime dad energy.
Yeah, it's prime dad energy. If I have one, I don't know what it is. I'd have to think, but
wow, what a great
I think when you're a dad, you don't know that you have dad phrases.
Oh,
your kids know that you have dad phrases, but you don't know that you have dad phrases. I think there's sort of an obliviousness there.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting.
I think when you're a dad and you're talking to your children, you black out a lot.
Yeah.
You just kind of go into a blindness because you've done this 1,000 times in a row.
How many times do I have to tell you to insert whatever here?
Insert whatever, right? I don't think dads know that they have dad phrases.
Okay, well, I want you to be on the lookout.
All right, I'll be on the lookout.
I want you to be on the lookout for your dad phrases because, or even just ask your wife, hey, what's a good dad phrase you think for me? I bet she could rattle off 2 or 3.
Oh, absolutely.
Boom,
I'm sure
boom.
she could.
Well, when you say this, when he does this. 5 years old. Holy crap! I did not.
Yeah, he's 5 now. He had a soccer game this morning, and I'm here. So, hey,
happy Father's Day weekend.
Happy Father's Day weekend.
Hey, you know what? See, and here's a good dad phrase: son, you got to put food on the table.
Got to put
food on the table. People forget you need sustenance. You need to eat.
People forget that.
People do forget. Josh doesn't forget because he got the sunflower seeds. I'm counting down to 1240 right now.
Big thanks to Chinook Seeds once again for bringing those by. You should come down and check them out.
I am ready. I am ready for the sunflower seeds. All right, we're about to get into hour number 2. talk a little about the Stanley Cup final. I got a stat for you, John.
Okay, I like stats.
A stat plus. So
I'm a stat guy.
Did want to talk about the NBA finals, given that I have not been on the air yet with an opportunity to kind of give some of my thoughts on the Warriors as they pick up their 4th title in the Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr era, so we can talk about that. Again, sorry, Josh, I apologize for what I'm about to say about your Boston Celtics. Mitch Sherman is going to join us. He will join us at 11:30. Lots to talk about with Mitch. And then Eric Sorensen will also stop by, but he's going to do so in the final hour of the show. Again, we can look back on what happened yesterday in the first couple games of the series and then look ahead to tonight. He was very high on Notre Dame going into the whole tournament. He said if they can get out of their regional and they go up against Tennessee, I like them to win.
That's a bold statement.
And he ended up
considering
being right.
Tennessee's dominance.
They got off to such a strong start in that super, and then, of course, we know what happened for them yesterday.
Does it feel like we kind of stole all the A-list guests and everyone else now has just like –
they're going to be competing against us? Yeah, we do got a nice lineup.
It's stacked.
Yeah, we got a really good lineup.
Farron, Sherman, and Eric Sorensen.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's like is that the holy trinity of CWS?
I mean,
guests?
look, if we can get,
or do we have to get Aaron Fitt in there somewhere?
I was going to say if we can get John Bishop. I don't have his phone number though.
Oh,
yeah. So
nobody knows that guy.
Yeah, I don't even know who he is, to be honest. Nick Grimm, if he could stop by, maybe Gary, Damon, Connor Happer. We did see Connor earlier.
We did see Connor.
He didn't stay though.
He's got a bucket hat now.
Yeah, he does have a bucket. Yeah, it seems like yesterday the sun was doing its magic on him.
Well, Connor and I have similar complexions.
Very white.
So if I was doing Connor's job, I think I would have gone bucket hat too. There's no complaints from me going bucket hat when you're fair-haired with a red beard.
Yeah.
No way.
Also,
you got to do it.
At one point, I was in the bullpen yesterday in the stadium, and I was like, oh, it smells like a swimming pool right now because you just put on the sunscreen. You walk around here, you're going to get that smell.
Yes.
It's strong. It's very strong.
Protect your skin, people.
Do so indeed. All right. Hour number 2 is coming up. We're having a great time getting you ready for Game 3 of the series. Stanford and Arkansas. First pitch scheduled for a little after 1 o'clock. Pregame will start at 12:40. Hour number 2 from the Omaha Baseball Village coming up next here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the Rooferees at the Weather Guard Showroom. The difference between your company and the ones that haven't been around very long, and what's the real value there?
We started the business in '85. That has to be worth something that you've been in the community for this long. If people are just out there to shop the price and not the service and the quality of what we do and the integrity of who we are, those people may not be for us. And that's okay.
The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Your man and his baseball bros have tickets to the ball game. Looks like that remodeling project on your kitchen has been sent to the showers again. Time for a call to the bullpen and McKean's Floor to Ceiling. With interest-deferred financing available to qualified buyers, you can rehab your kitchen and get it ready to face another batter. You know, like cake and waffle batter. See what I did there? McKean's Floor to Ceiling, your something baseball metaphor store.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Council Bluffs in Omaha. Get ready to celebrate Independence Day. Looking for the best deals on fireworks? Here's Chris from I Know a Guy Fireworks.
Omaha, Council Bluffs, I Know a Guy Fireworks is back for another year. You asked for it. We're bringing you the Thunder Bunny Fireworks and Thunder Series exclusively at I Know a Guy Fireworks, south of the Horseshoe Casino. Come get your thump on and let's get lit safely. How far down the rabbit hole you want to go?
I Know a Guy Fireworks, south of the Horseshoe Casino in Council Bluffs.
Your home for the Men's College World Series is 1620 The Zone, KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Presented by Lanaha Nurseries, rooted in quality, unmatched value. 1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and by Brookside Medical. Here are Josh Peterson and John Schreiner on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the Omaha Baseball Village here at the Men's College World Series, day 2 of the CWS. Stanford and Arkansas coming up in a little over 2 hours. We are powered by Brookside Medical, revolutionary treatment for ED. He is John Schreiner. I am Josh Peterson. Thank you so much for joining us as we go into the last hour of this morning. We will have Mitch Sherman on in just a little bit. Lots to talk about with him. Eric Sorensen will stop by in a little over an hour. Again, as we get you ready for Stanford and Arkansas. All right, let's do a little final, got to take out the S, final preview for the Stanley Cup Final. People forget it's not the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right.
It's the Stanley Cup Final. Then we'll talk a little NBA Finals and what happened there. But it sounds like you've been glued to the TV.
I
so
really
you won't
have.
be tonight because you'll be working.
So I had been really into in years past, I had watched Stanley Cup playoffs, like front to back, top to bottom, start to finish, right?
Sure.
I was really into that event. And then for a few years, it felt like it just got kind of stale, right? The game was played in such a way that it wasn't as entertaining as it had been. The goals scored were down. Like, it was very hard to beat goaltenders.
And real quick, is this before or after the COVID bubble?
I kind of
was that a part of it?
No, I kind of fell off before.
Okay.
Of paying attention to it, and this year, in reading about some of the players and seeing some of the scores in the first round, I started watching, and then I couldn't stop watching. I was glued to it every single night, and I just feel like the game has changed now, because we went through a period like sports goes in cycles, right? In the late 70s and 80s, it was like the common score was like 6 to 7, right? In hockey, It was goals a minute. And then
I remember the early 2000s, way low scoring.
Yes.
When the pads were so big on the goalkeepers.
And defenses adapted, the neutral zone trap, all those things.
There was one that I remember in particular, I think the Devils won in like 2002, 2003, and it was just so horrifically boring.
Yes.
I was like, no, thank you.
So I think the game is cycling back the other way now. I think that
there's been a lot of high-scoring games.
Goal numbers are up. 15 goals scored in a game between Edmonton and Calgary. That was a great game to watch. I'm sure not to play in if you're between the pipes.
Very stressful.
But so I feel like the things that defenses and goaltenders were doing to keep scores down, the attacking hockey has figured out a way to break that down. Like on the offense, they figured out what defenses are doing and figured out ways to beat that. So we're on the upswing again of goals, and the game is played at such a fast pace. Like the dump and chase era is dead. Nobody does that anymore. And, guys like Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Nazem Kadri, they play the game with such velocity, and it's so much fun to watch. I said it on Twitter for the 250 of you that follow me, that series between Edmonton and Colorado was the most entertaining 4-game sweep in a series I have ever seen, regardless of sport. It was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm just in on the future of hockey at this point. I think the young players coming in play the game in a very entertaining style. It's played much faster. Dump and chase is dead. And I'm just in. I think.
Are you going to watch the regular season? Are you that in?
So
now you're busy also.
I'm busy. I have a child, as we've already discussed.
Yeah, congrats on the sex.
That was a long time ago, Josh.
A one-time sex.
But I think so. I'm a proclaimed Washington Capitals fan, but I feel like I'm going to start paying attention to them in the regular season more now because of the way that I've seen the game played during this postseason. It's just been so entertaining.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a diehard hockey fan, like ESPN Plus is a dream.
Oh, it's great.
With all of the games, and I mean, look, at some point, probably soon, ESPN Plus is going to go up in price, and so then it won't be as I mean, look, you're still going to get great value, though, because you get all of those hockey games, Remember the old days of having to get center ice, and now it's all available basically.
Which
on
was
ESPN+.
it was like $100 a month or something.
It was a lot of money. I knew one person ever who had center ice. This guy loved hockey.
I lived with a hockey player in college
at
UNO, and so we had the center ice package because hockey.
Yeah, sure.
And I remember it being very expensive, and got very excited when ESPN got those rights.
So I promised you I had a stat before we go on to the NBA Finals. Okay, Avs obviously looking to go up 2-0 tonight, which I was surprised that they didn't play yesterday. It's kind of
they
like
took 2 days off.
Yeah, it feels like the beginning of the NBA Finals. Anyway, coming into tonight, they're 13-2 in the postseason. Those only 2 losses came to the Blues in the second round. So a couple of sweeps and now a 1-0 lead. But the thing that continues to stand out to me, John, as they have had this run, is that they are 5-1 in 1-goal games. And so you look at their record, 13-2. You would think, oh my gosh, they just must be kicking the crap out of everybody. And look, they have done that. They've kicked the crap out of the team. But that they are able to win all of these 1-goal games. They won a couple of them, 2-3 in overtime as well. So I don't know. That continues to jump out to me as we see a team that has that much success, but that they're not just blowing teams out, but that they're winning in games that are either going into OT or at least going down to the wire.
Well, the thing about Colorado that's impressed me so much is you can't ever count them out. They were down in a couple of games in that sweep of Edmonton, and they came back, and I think game 4, I believe they were down, scored late, and then scored in overtime. So it's a team with tremendous grit. Like they're never out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sleep on them at all, no matter what the lead is. And they have been really, really fun to watch. Nathan McKinnon might be my favorite hockey player at the moment right now. He's so fast. His hands are disgusting, and it's amazing. He is or should be the face of the future of hockey in the NHL. I know a lot of people. Connor McDavid has been kind of the guy, but man, just watch Nathan McKinnon and tell me you are not totally entertained.
Avs might be having a moment, man. They could win their first Stanley Cup in a while, and then there's going to be that E60 documentary on them and the Red Wings.
I'm excited for that.
I'm a Red Wings fan. I lived in Michigan for a few years, so that's the team that I root for when they're good. Otherwise, I don't really care or pay attention.
They haven't been good in a while.
But man, I am jacked for that documentary. Absolutely jacked.
Yeah. So, I think that the finals matchup is just so intriguing too. You have this Avs team that's young and fast and plays the game in this new style. And then you have Tampa Bay, who's 2-time defending champ. They've got some older heads. They play a very calm, cool, collected style, and they're not flying by the seat of their pants.
Mm-hmm.
But Kucherov is very entertaining to watch. So, yeah, I'm excited for the rest of this series and to see how it turns out.
All right, speaking of the finals, let us put one final bow. Your favorite Omaha sports radio station. We're going to put one final bow on the NBA Finals 2 days after it happened. But I had to get a couple of takes in.
All right, we'll get them in.
Okay, most championships, just a championship, right? A team wins, it's celebrated. Every now and then you'll get a transcendent team, a team that puts together one of the better records, or maybe has a specific run, or maybe it's a player kind of taking that leap. For example, if the Celtics would have won and Jason Tatum would have played well, I think a lot of people said, wow, here comes last year Giannis, kind of the crowning moment of his young career. But every now and then you'll get a franchise, you'll get an era that maybe it's that kind of final piece to the puzzle, whether it's winning 3 and 4 years, with of course the Warriors have done, or back-to-back. And then beyond that, John, you'll get the franchise that has had the success, but then it's maybe been a few years, and people retroactively are viewing what they had done in a different light. Oh, well, that was back then, this is now. I think of, the Patriots. They won 3 and 4 years at the beginning of the Brady Belichick era, and then they went 9 seasons from 04 they went 10 seasons, right, into 2014. And by the time that Super Bowl rolled around, they had lost in 2 of them. They were getting called soft, and then they beat the Seahawks, and all of that changed. And so that was one of those defining wins of their championship run. And I kind of feel that way about the Warriors, and specifically about Steph, but about this era, of Warriors basketball, with Steve Kerr going there, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Not only does Steph win the Finals MVP, which for some people that was like the thing that his career was missing, but in my opinion, it's like about winning one without Kevin Durant, because I said it a couple minutes ago. Retroactively, people were viewing that first title as like, injuries for Cleveland, and Steph didn't play well. Iguodala won the MVP. No worries. That they couldn't do it after that because, look, the next year they went 73-9. They lost to the Cavs, and then they needed Kevin Durant. Like, this is one of those championships that it's just like important. Whether or not you care about someone's legacy, that's fine with me. But this is a legacy championship for them and specifically for Steph Curry. So as a Steph Curry fan, I was really happy to see him win because I have been annoyed by the conversation. I was annoyed by the conversation. I thought it was pretty cool that he was able to win and play well in the process.
What I found interesting was at the end of Game 6, if you watched the sort of post-game on the court players talking to each other, was Draymond Green, and I think it was Grant Williams that he was talking to, and you could just barely hear it. I actually rewound it and listened to it again because it's Draymond Green talking to it, and I think it was Grant Williams. He said he taps him on the chest and says, "You'll be back here. There's no doubt about it."
I heard that too.
And so I think, as you say, it's a legacy-defining moment for the Warriors. It also may have been a passing of the torch moment because that Boston team's very young. They have young pieces and young talent that, and you never know if you can keep it all together. And, NBA free agency is what it is, and
they're in the same conference as Giannis and still Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler.
But it almost did feel like, okay, we needed this last piece to make the puzzle complete. We did it against the young Bucks that are up and coming, and now it might be the time for the new dynasty to start on the other coast.
See, it's interesting, and Josh, you can feel free to hop in. I almost wonder if we could look back at both of these teams and say this was like a true window, like a moment title where either of them was going to win, and maybe they actually won't win moving forward because the West isn't going to get any easier, and I think the East is pretty deep.
I think Jason Tatum saw firsthand, that's the level I need to be at to finish the job. I clearly was not at that level during these 6 finals games. I got to go train in the offseason and be ready for that because that's what I need to be, and I'm not there yet. I'm damn close.
They were. But the other thing I think is interesting is you have the three vets in Steph, Klay, and Draymond for Golden State. But
guys
they
in their
have
30s.
But Jordan Poole is young, and he played outstanding in the finals. And the Andrew Wiggins reclamation project
blew me away.
People were he was starting to tilt toward the bust category, and some people had already shoved him all the way into that box.
Yep.
And he comes to Golden State, sort of reinvents himself as a defensive wizard and provides enough spark on the offensive end as well.
Yeah, Game 5 was awesome.
I think that, obviously Steph's sort of maybe late prime,
the
late prime
now
of his career. Draymond, outside of Game 6, looked old.
Oh, he looked old and slow.
He looked like it was getting to be too much.
Like it had passed him by.
He couldn't keep up anymore. He's that cornerback who's lost the step and gets blown by late in his NFL career, right?
Mm-hmm.
The formerly great guy, the lockdown corner who doesn't have that burst anymore. That's what it looked like for most of the series from Draymond. So honestly, you don't know how many more opportunities for that trio there's going to be left.
Yeah.
And does Draymond even come back?
I think he's got 1 year left on his deal, and then after that, I mean, they ain't paying him what he's getting paid right now. So will he be willing to take a pay cut? It wouldn't surprise me, but he's probably going to have to look at doing something like that.
Would they think about dealing him with that 1 year left to get something back out of it?
Yeah, I mean, since he'd be an expiring contract, that would be enticing for some franchises. Given how much he's owed, I wonder if that would kind of dissuade some people from taking him on.
And I think taking him out of there as the vocal leader, the enforcer, all he talked about the whole series was playing with force. Mm-hmm. He didn't talk about how many points he was scoring. I mean, he was trying to be physical and be that physical, tough presence on the inside. And I think him going that route, and it's not like he never went that route. Draymond's always been a really physical player.
Yeah.
But the criticism with Jason Tatum not taking it to the rack has a large part to do with Draymond being such a physical presence on the inside, I think.
I think the Warriors I think they're probably going to do right by their guy who won them 4 titles. And like, you get to write your own exit. We know you're going to TNT. You're a Warrior for life. And that life is probably one more year where you will co-host Inside the NBA with Chuck and become a bigger star.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. So what a run by Golden State. One more thing. You mentioned Wiggins. You know, we wonder nature versus nurture. That is quite the win for that franchise, and what they were able to do to like help him along. Good. I mean, not taking any credit away from Wiggins, but you know, he was poor, wasn't very good in Minnesota. He goes there, and it's like, wow, this guy was the second best player on a championship team. It just shows how important drafting is and where you end up. You know, it's not always just about you as an individual. It's going to help with who's around you as well. All right, we got Mitch Sherman coming up at the bottom of the hour. Before, though, that we talked to him, we did want to kind of go through his story a little bit, let you know what it's about before we dive into that conversation. Some of our takeaways. It was a really good story, so we'll talk about that when we return. Also, Eric Sorensen is going to join us in about an hour as we get ready for another doubleheader here at the Men's College World Series. Stanford, Arkansas coming up first. Auburn and Ole Miss later on this evening. Surprisingly, Auburn and Ole Miss, they haven't seen each other since March. Stanford and Arkansas, they saw each other all the way back in February. So we got a couple of rematches, but it's been a long time since those teams have seen each other. More to come from the Omaha Baseball Village next on 1620 The Zone.
ED meds are great. They work for erectile dysfunction, but it's time to stop with the pill and think Brookside Medical Clinic. Brookside has the advanced wave technology, which has been proven by Cambridge University to restore and regrow blood vessels. And when you call Brookside now at 402-671-7777, you can get a free blood flow ultrasound and consultation. Remember, you can't play baseball without a bat. Fix your ED problems with the advanced wave technology at Brookside Medical. 402-671-7777.
In a world of instant expectations, transporting goods are more important than ever. From the concessions and souvenirs to the seats and sports equipment, everything travels by truck. Imagine the complications and people involved to make this happen. Become a part of the excitement. Werner delivers premier transportation and logistics solutions 24/7 with a multitude of careers available. Join us in making a positive impact on the world. At Werner, average is for other people. Apply today by visiting wernercareers.com.
Solar panels are happening. They're a way for you to save money on your electricity. Say hello to ADT Solar. ADT, a company known for security, is now excited to offer solar energy to homeowners and the Omaha Metro. Why rent power when you can own it? Increase the value of your home, get a battery, no down payment or zero down. Go green. There's so many benefits to going solar. To get information, go to adtsolar.com. That's go adtsolar.com.
Food, festivals, and a whole lot of fun. You're sure to find some this summer in Sarpy County, Nebraska. From festivals and fireworks to homemade ales and beers to a winery and distilleries, Sarpy County is your go-to destination for summertime celebration. There's also shopping, sports action, concerts, and a whole lot more. But summer isn't going to last forever, so get out your calendar, click GoSarpy.com, and start making plans. Sarpy County Tourism. So near, so fun.
If you're craving some Southern hospitality during the tournament, Mouth of the South Southern Grub has some mighty fine Cajun and Southern dishes that are mouth-watering and tasty. Kickin' chicken, jambalaya, voodoo shrimp and grits, po' boys, burgers, gumbo, soup, salads, bar drinks, patio. You'll just have to stop by and try them all. Lunch, dinner, and brunch on the weekends. We're in the heart of the Old Market at 11th and Harney and at Lakeside Hills Plaza, 168th and West Center. Mouth of the South, MOTSOmaha.com.
1620 The Zone and Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream are giving our listeners and baseball fans the chance to win big. Come by the Zone booth at the Bullpen inside Omaha Baseball Village during the college baseball tournament and register to win a summer vacay prize pack of a grill, KC Royals tickets, a gas card, and ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. 1620 The Zone and Ted and Wally's want your summer vacay to be cool. We'll see you at the Bullpen inside Omaha Baseball Village, June 17th through the 26th.
Ted Wally celebrating more than 35 years of making the best ice cream on the planet. Truly an Omaha tradition. The ultra premium ice cream is everything you've been told, and they use the best ingredients, many of which locally sourced. That's a bonus. You mix in a little bit of love, that's a good deal. Come on down to the 1620 The Zone location in Baseball Village for your chance to win free ice cream for a year. Ted Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Celebrate more than 35 years with them in Benson or the Old Market.
Curveballs belong in baseball, not your bank. When you choose Access Bank for your personal or commercial banking needs, you'll know what to expect every time. Personalized, all-in-one service from experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro. Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, John Schreiner, Josh Odson here with you at the Omaha Baseball Village. Stop by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside of OBV and register to win a prize pack of a grill, KC Royals tickets, and ice cream for a year.
Ice cream for a year. Sign up right there, guys.
13th and Mike Fahey. Also, we'd like to welcome to our partner ADT Solar joining us on site this weekend. ADT Solar, powering homes, empowering people. We got Chance Oliver back in the studio as well. Mitch Sherman's going to join us in just a few minutes. So we've been teasing this story throughout the show today, John. It went up yesterday on The Athletic. The center of a Nebraska recruiting coup, life's twists, and the lasting connection. So, as we mentioned, it surface level, it's about the 2007 Arizona signees for the Nebraska recruiting class. They signed 5 players. This was the last class that Bill Callahan would sign as a head coach at Nebraska, and impact dudes on the roster that mattered for, I mean, really the Bo Pelini era, if we're being
Absolutely
honest, especially Prince Amukamara and Eric Haig. And so, like, that's kind of the broader view of the story, but it talks a lot about Javario Burks, his recruitment, his ability, his skill, and how even though you got multiple guys that went on and played in the NFL, he was kind of the guy that they were looking at the most, and that there was maybe the most sadly unfulfilled promise for what his career could have been.
But yeah, he had the most raw talent of any of those guys. He was the guy who, you know, they salivate over the measurables. I think there's one part in the story in there that Mitch recounts when he made his first visit to Nebraska that Bill Callahan was just enamored. Couldn't stop talking about him. They said they did a hand measurement of him when he was on his first visit, and they had never measured a hand that big.
Yeah.
It's just I mean, when Javario Burks, I learned something. I didn't know that he was dealing with those kidney issues while he was playing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know whether they kept that under wraps or I just didn't pay attention to it.
You know, sometimes you learn things in the moment, and then eventually you just forget where or like what you heard exactly and when you heard it. But I knew a couple guys on the team at the time, and so I knew something was going on with him. I don't know if I remember the exact details, but hearing like, yeah, he lost a lot of weight, and it was like, oh, really? You know, so it was obvious that it wasn't like, oh yeah, he tore his knee. You know, it was something,
right.
You know, something more important in terms of his body.
He had serious kidney problems that would keep him out of training for, you know, sometimes months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it never really allowed him to reach that full potential. And then that was ultimately what, you know, the complications due to that was ultimately what claimed his life.
Yeah.
And to, you know, talk about Eric Haig going on and getting a sniff in the NFL, but then had, you know, some of his own problems.
Didn't realize, he dealt with alcoholism. He's been sober now for a while. I had no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, no idea.
And, you know, Prince has had a pretty good NFL career, Prince Amukamara.
Yeah, he's still hoping to you know, get back on a roster, have a cup of coffee again in the league. Yeah, and so 5 guys from that state signed out of high school, and they were all recruited by Bill Bush. We mentioned Javario Burks. We mentioned Eric Haig and Prince Amukamara. The other couple of guys, William Yancey, a player out of Arizona, and then Marcel Jones. So that was, really, as Callahan, like, that class did not get the fanfare of the 05 class, which had Marlon Lucky, Harrison Beck, etc. But, man, that 2007 class, that ended up being a real big part of the reason why Nebraska was able to go to the Big 12 title game in 2009, go to the same one in 2010. They had in this class that we haven't mentioned, not from Arizona, Jared Crick was in that class. Roy Halou was in that class. Blake Lawrence was in that class. Zach Lee, Larry Asante. I mean, just a bunch of guys that ended up having quite the impact.
That's the foundation of that 2009 defense.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and then Roy Halou, perhaps the most important offensive player for a team that was not very good on offense, certainly in 2009.
The Javario Burke story is one ultimately that ends in tragedy, but I think it's also one that points at some hope for Nebraska fans. That, and I want to talk to Mitch about this, but we often hear people say that Bill Bush is such a great recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Why do they say that? I think this story exemplifies why that may be true.
Mitch is going to join us when we return. 1620 The Zone live hydration sponsor is Coors Light. Time for a hydration break presented by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Mitch will stop by when we return. We'll talk about this story. We'll talk about Bill Bush. Also talk a little bit about the College World Series as well, as day 2 now a little over an hour and a half away. He's John Schreiner. I'm Josh Peterson. More to come next here on 1620 The Zone.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we designed the Ford trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 45 years straight. Made for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't designed for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
He binge watches C-SPAN 3. He is the most uninteresting man in the world.
Hi, I'm Bob Berger. Don't just get your taxes done, get them managed. If you're tired of losing sleep over your business and personal taxes, you're ready to make more money, give us a call.
Call Berger, Elliott, and Pritchard CPAs at 402-551-1919 or visit bepcpa.com.
If you're tired of trading one dead-end job for another, trade your job for a career. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers has positions open right now. As an IBEW residential electrician, you'll get training, higher pay, paid health care, retirement, and up to a $1,000 sign-on bonus. Build a better life for you and your family. Make it happen. Call 402-810-0789 right now. That's 402-810-0789. Or get details at IBEW22.org.
Summer's here, and there's no better time to call the professionals at Patera Landscaping for the perfect landscape. You've heard the jingle, you've noticed the red Patera trucks, and admired the beautiful Patera landscapes in your neighborhood. Patera has been named Omaha's Best and won Omaha's Choice Award and Reader's Choice Award. So put the best to work for you in creating your perfect landscape. Visit PateraLandscaping.com. That's PateraLandscaping.com. When you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
If you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
When does a moment become life-changing? How can today make the difference for tomorrow? When envisioning what kind of future is possible, the challenges never stop. And neither do we. Methodist, the meaning of care.
Living in your community is about living in the moment. It's about the backyard barbecue with friends, the live music that never leaves the heart. It's knowing that everything you'll ever need is right in front of you. No matter where life takes you next, we're the local bank that can help you make the most of it. Because we're more than a bank in Nebraska. We're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Hello, with Josh Peterson. I'm Gary Sharp for Cougar Vision. Isn't it time that you started seeing without glasses or contacts? We both had worn glasses and contacts for a long time until we met Cougar Vision. Now we enjoy the freedom of our vision correction procedures, and that changes the way we see the world, Josh.
Gary, whether it's going to a sporting event, sitting on our computers for work, watching games on TV, I was happy to make that decision. Our listeners would be happy to do so as well. To schedule a consultation and find out more information, go to their website right now, cougarvision.com. It's KUGLER vision.com.
Your man and his baseball bros have tickets to the ball game. Looks like that remodeling project on your kitchen has been sent to the showers again. Time for a call to the bullpen and McKean's Floor to Ceiling. With interest-deferred financing available to qualified buyers, you can rehab your kitchen and get it ready to face another batter. You know, like cake and waffle batter. See what I did there? McKean's Floor to Ceiling, your something baseball metaphor store.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Come by the Zone booth inside of Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream is 1620 The Zone, celebrating 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson and downtown Omaha. I'm Josh Peterson. John Schreiner with me today until 12:40 ahead of the third game of the Men's College World Series, Stanford and Arkansas. And right now we are happy to welcome from the Athletic, dear friend of 1620 The Zone, it is Mitch Sherman. Mitch, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Doing phenomenal.
Loving the CWS, man.
We were talking earlier, Mitch, about dad phrases because I heard a dad, he wasn't angry, but just kind of lecturing his kid about something. Do you have a good go-to dad phrase at his Father's Day weekend?
Yeah. Well, my son's here with me right now, so I've probably mentioned a lot of them here in the last 5 minutes. Well, when we're in a place like this, it's like, don't go where I can't see you. That's and he
put that down.
He's currently violating that, that policy somewhere around here.
Don't touch that.
Yeah, I mean, they change with age. Like my daughter,
Yep.
I don't say that to. She's 15, so she can go where I can't see her all the time. In fact, that's probably preferred, but in most cases, not always. Don't read into that too much. But so they evolve and change over the years. But I tell Zach, my 11-year-old, a lot when he's going off to when he's not going to be with me. Just don't be an idiot, and because a lot of the 11-year-olds are.
Yeah, it sounds like me as an 11-year-old.
And generally that's good advice. I don't know if it works, but I
Sounds
feel
like
better
he's a
after saying it.
30-year-old.
Yeah, I was going to say. Mitch Sherman, we mentioned the story last segment about the 2007 Nebraska recruiting class, specifically the state of Arizona, and specifically Javario Burks. Talk about putting this story together, Mitch. Like, what was it? Was it 15 years? It's kind of a nice number. Is it that? Is it time? And did something kind of spark your interest? How did this come together?
Well, yeah, the story, is about Javario Burks, and I focused on Javario Burks, but it's about Bill Bush, who recruited Javario Burks to Nebraska in 2006, and he signed in 2007. And then all of the other kids from Arizona, there were 5 in that class. There was actually 6, and I didn't even mention Armando Murillo in the story. He was a junior college player, also from Eastern Arizona Community College. And, Bill, when I talked to Bill, made it a point, don't forget about Armando. Well, I mean, Armando wasn't as connected to the other 5 who were all in high school and all had ties and knew each other, going back years before they signed in Nebraska. And that was a big factor in Nebraska landing these guys. So, of course, you had Prince Amukamara, the most recent first-round pick from Nebraska back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Haig, who was a great defensive player at Nebraska and played in the NFL. And Will Yancey, who had shoulder injuries and his career was cut short.
Yeah.
And then Marcel Jones, who was a 2-year starter at right tackle, actually took over for Javario when Javario, who was the highest rated of these recruits and was the guy that everyone thought would be in the NFL a few years after he came to Nebraska. And he had health issues predating his time at Nebraska that grew more difficult to manage while he was in Lincoln. He quit football and ended up passing away in 2020 of a brain aneurysm. So there's some serious tragedy here with this story. But I was working at the Omaha World Herald in 2007, before that, but during that time, And I went to Phoenix, actually to report on Alex Gordon, who was in spring training with Kansas City and was about to debut as a rookie for the Royals. So that was the main purpose of that trip. And I spent 2 or 3 days in Surprise at the Royals spring training complex. And that was for me, that was great. I got to meet George Brett for the first time in my life. So a little bit of blurring of the lines between reporter and baseball fan.
Yeah.
And while there, I said, hey, there's these 5 kids from Arizona, from Phoenix, who just signed with Nebraska a month ago. I'm going to go meet these guys and talk to them. And so that's where it goes all the way back to that. And over the years, following them and seeing how interesting their lives were, I've always had this in my mind, like I need to revisit this story. And when Javario passed away a couple years ago, that rekindled that interest. And this is the 15-year anniversary. So 15 years ago, these guys were showing up in Lincoln, getting ready to be freshmen on what turned out to be Bill Callahan's last team.
I was talking to you just before we went on air here. Nobody really knew that the medical issue that was reported was as bad as it was with Javario. And I don't think people truly understood that it was something that needed to be so tightly managed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately what got him off the team at Nebraska. And that was striking to me. What was something maybe that you learned while putting this story together that people didn't know or wouldn't know now?
Yeah, well, Javario was just this larger than life, big, gregarious. He lit up the room. All attention was on him, no matter what the group of people was. And he was a national level recruit. He's the guy that brought Pete Carroll and Mark Richt and Phil Fulmer, as I mentioned in the opening of the story, to Moon Valley High School in Phoenix to recruit him in 2006. And his coach was from Iowa, from small town Iowa. And I did not know the story. Maybe it's been told before. Maybe it's been told to me, but I did not remember the story until I talked to his high school coach, Roger Britson, last week about a group of players coming to Iowa the summer before Javario's senior year to detassel corn in the fields that were managed by Roger Britson, the coach's family. And they spent 5 weeks in Iowa, and it was like a boot camp kind of thing, because they detasseled corn and then they lifted weights and what it's like. It's 90 degrees and it's uncomfortable even for these kids who grew up in Phoenix. And on the way back from that trip, they stopped in Lincoln. And that's when Bill Callahan fell head over heels for Javario Burks. Bush had been recruiting him, and Nebraska had been on him, and the process was well underway to make him a part of that 07 class. But the head coach was, if there's one thing that you can say unequivocally that is without reproach when it comes to Bill Callahan, it's that he knew offensive linemen. He studied them. He had very specific traits, as Bush explained to me here in this year, this spring, in what he looked for in an offensive lineman. And Javario fit all of those things. He was like the perfect offensive lineman for Bill Callahan, who came from the NFL, and that was his specialty. So they hit it off, and that got the ball rolling, so that Burks took, he preferred what he saw on that visit and everything that he learned about Nebraska over the more glamorous USC, or at that time, of course, Nebraska was just 10 years removed or less than that from a national championship, so it's not like 2022, but still, Michigan is Michigan, and Georgia, those programs had some things to offer that looked pretty good in comparison to Nebraska, but not to Javario, in large part because of that connection he felt, not just with Bush and Dennis Wagner, the offensive line coach, but with Bill Callahan, the head coach.
Looking at this story, Mitch, obviously there's a lot of sadness in it with what happened with Javario, both in his time at Nebraska and then his time after Nebraska before he passed away in 2020. But I know also people will read that and think, wow, Bill Bush, what an incredible recruiter, what an incredible relationship person. I guess when you report on this and you think back to 2007 and then you think about now those traits and what he's able to do, how was he able to do that? And do you see him continuing to do that in this current iteration of Nebraska, given that, like you just said, that was only 10 years removed. Now we're 15 more years later.
Yeah, 25 years removed.
Yeah.
So, Bill was 41 years old had a ton of energy. He was a go-getter. This was his first opportunity at a place like Nebraska, at a big Power 5 program, to do what he does and what he learned from Urban Meyer and the others that he had coached under at that point in his career. So he was as gung-ho as you can get as a recruiter. And the high school coaches from Phoenix remember how it seemed like he was always there. He was always at these schools, and he was hanging out and spending time, and he was beating good head coaches and assistant coaches to the punch. Will Yancey, the least celebrated of these 5 players, he remembered at the least celebrated now. He was a big time recruit, went to the same high school as Eric Haig, but again, the injuries cut short his career, so we don't remember Will Yancey as a player as much at Nebraska, but he remembers when Bill Busch came to his house and came in to talk to him and his parents, and it was a different kind of presentation than what all of the other coaches he'd seen put in front of him. There weren't pamphlets and hats and all kinds of papers and different bells and whistles. Bill just came in and talked about Nebraska, and they said, "Hey, do you have more in your presentation?" And he said, "No, come visit. It'll sell itself." And that was Nebraska then, and I think that's Nebraska now. Still, it does sell itself. When you have something like what Nebraska was doing last night with the Friday Night Lights, and there's 300 kids there, Bill Busch still has a lot of that same energy. He's at a different place in his career, but bringing him on staff this year with Mickey Joseph has reinvigorated Nebraska's ability to recruit. And I think you're seeing it with this class, and I think you're going to continue to see it in the way that they go after high school kids. It may not be 5 guys from Arizona like we saw 15 years ago. Sure. But look at what Bill Busch is doing in Kansas City right now. Nebraska has not had a history of success in recruiting Kansas City, and they're getting in there right now, have a commitment, and several others who are highly rated players looking at the Huskers. That's in large part because of what Bill Busch is doing and the work that he's putting in on the ground in an important recruiting area.
Well, let's hope he can build some of those classes like we saw in the early 2000s. Well, I want to shift a little bit now to the reason we're all here, the College World Series. You've been covering this a lot longer than I have, but to me, it seems like one of the most balanced, evenly matched fields that I can remember in my time being at the College World Series. Where does it fall on that spectrum for you?
Yeah, there's usually a Cinderella or, some, and you kind of have that with Ole Miss because of the on the bubble talk or reality on Memorial Day when the 64 team field was announced. But I just have a hard time putting that label on anyone from the SEC. Those programs are great, and they play the best programs every week. So it's almost like a step down at times when they get into regionals. It's like, oh, they don't have 4 guys who can throw 95 out of the bullpen, and then we're seeing this team in a regional or a super regional. Well, this is what we see. This is easier than what we see every weekend. This is like a Tuesday night game, and it's a super regional. And really, for Ole Miss, it was. They were playing Southern Miss, which is a team you'd play in the middle of the week. So that I think is representative of what this 8-team field is. It's just filled with powers of college baseball and college sports, really. I mean, look, yesterday, Oklahoma and Notre Dame won. It's like, is this the college football playoff or are we at the College World Series?
It's all big brands.
Yeah, one of those teams has got the inside track, is going to have the inside track tomorrow to make the championship series. And, we're going to be talking about football because it's likely going to be 2 big football programs that are playing for the college baseball national championship. And I think that's representative of the way that college athletics is going today. The big football programs are the schools that have the most money orbiting their entire athletic departments. So when it comes to NIL and enticing players through the transfer portal or through recruiting or whatever it is that gets players on your campus today, these programs like Notre Dame and Oklahoma and Texas A&M, they're going to continue to be the winners. I think we're going to see more College World Series fields that look like this, that are filled with football powers in the years to come, as long as there's not a dramatic change in the way that college athletics works.
He is Mitch Sherman of The Athletic. A really good story. Recommend giving it a read, titled The Center of a Nebraska Recruiting Coup, Life's Twists and a Lasting Connection. Mitch, we always appreciate the time. Your son has made it back over here, so he followed the instructions. Don't be an idiot. He did those things. We appreciate that. We appreciate
I bet he
the
touched
conversation.
something, though.
That's all right. It's the baseball village.
Mitch, enjoy the games.
Thanks, guys.
He is
right,
Mitch
thanks,
Sherman
Mitch.
of The Athletic. We'll come back and wrap up the hour, get you ready. The countdown continues for Stanford and Arkansas here on 1620 The Zone.
Curveballs belong in baseball, not your bank. When you choose Access Bank for your personal or commercial banking needs, you'll know what to expect every time. Personalized, all-in-one service from experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro. Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
MD West One has been the official team doctors for the college baseball championships for over 50 years. MD West One is honored to be back in the dugout this year to care for the athletes from all over the country. MD West One specializes in orthopedics, sports medicine, neurosurgery, and spine. They're voted first place in the Best of Omaha for 3 years in a row. MD West One has multiple locations across Greater Omaha, including an ortho and spine urgent care. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the doctors in the dugout.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Woodhouse offers confidence as your trusted auto partner. With 18 brands and 16 convenient full-service dealerships, you can easily shop the latest models, discover a pre-owned vehicle that meets your list of must-haves, or conveniently maintain your current vehicle. And our knowledgeable and local team is ready to help, providing you the solutions to get you on the road faster, whether online at woodhouse.com or in person. Experience the difference with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry, you can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style, and they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I want to hear that sound again.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
That's the sound?
That's the sound of the room getting bigger.
And cleaner.
And happier.
I love a happy room.
Is there anything else we can do for you?
I'd like you to come to my house right before we go on vacation.
You want to come home to a big, clean, happy house.
There's nothing better than that.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Solar panels are happening. They're a way for you to save money on your electricity. Say hello to ADT Solar. ADT, a company known for security, is now excited to offer solar energy to homeowners and the Omaha Metro. Why rent power when you can own it? Increase the value of your home, get a battery, no down payment or zero down. Go green. There's so many benefits to going solar. To get information, go to adtsolar.com. That's go adtsolar.com.
Your man and his baseball bros have tickets to the ball game. Looks like that remodeling project on your kitchen has been sent to the showers. Again. Time for a call to the bullpen and McKean's Floor to Ceiling. With interest-deferred financing available to qualified buyers, you can rehab your kitchen and get it ready to face another batter. You know, like cake and waffle batter. See what I did there? McKean's Floor to Ceiling, your something baseball metaphor store.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, John Schreiner with you here at the Omaha Baseball Village, wrapping up hour number 2. We got Stanford and Arkansas coming up in a little over an hour. And then we have Auburn and Ole Miss in the second game later on tonight. What's going on?
I'm just having a conversation with this lovely young woman right here.
Nice.
She's looking for Damon Benning, who's not here.
Yeah,
he's doing his show from the studio in the morning. So
Yeah,
I don't know if he'll be down here, will he?
He'll be up in the booth, but I don't think he's. Yeah, he's big. He's big timing you. I think you personally. He's big timing you. Come on, Damon. Yeah, exactly.
All right,
People forget he won the Orange Bowl MVP back in 1996. So yeah, we will have shows down here though, all the way through the end of the championship series. What was that? Some people think they will be. You don't? Not really. I think they'll win more games, but I think they're going to be a worse football team.
There's not a lot to be better than. So.
Well, I think that's a solid take on your part. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Oh, Josh has a microphone for you.
Since we're already on the air, why don't we just do this?
Oh, okay. Well, and that goes. All right.
Well, and that was the exit cue right there.
Going back real quick to the conversation that we were just having with Mitch Sherman, a lot of good stuff in there. I thought what he said at the end about the football schools and how
that's a great talking point. Yeah.
And I think he's spot on for a bunch of reasons, but I think the first one that I start with is this, John. For now, if schools will still not be paying the players, which for the foreseeable future, that's how it's going to be, they got to spend the money somewhere because they need to look like a quote-unquote nonprofit.
Right.
And so if you're getting millions of dollars, if your television contract is getting close to $100 million, you got to spend that money somewhere. And so where will it go? It will go into the Olympic sports. It will go into the non-revenue sports. And look, in the South, obviously, they love college baseball. And so that's going to be one of the spots that I think can really benefit. And so you wonder, Oklahoma and Texas, of course, they're already here. You wonder what it could mean for them or what it will mean for them when they're in the SEC and they got the new TV deal in a couple of years.
Well, I think, when you talk about where does the money go, most of the big football schools are already spending, I would say, a considerable amount on their men's basketball programs, right?
Definitely.
Like that's a big priority for most of the larger institutions. So you start to go down the line. What's next? Well, you have like women's basketball. That's going to become a bigger priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Baseball is going to become a bigger priority. So I think
sports that are kind of on like the edge of revenue, non-revenue.
There might be a revenue sport in some places, but not in all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see new facilities. You're going to see new ballparks. You're going to see practice facilities for teams that might be in the north, and bigger spend on recruiting. And if at some point they remove or increase scholarship limits for sports like baseball, because
it just sounds like they could be.
Baseball has a ridiculously low number of scholarships. You need, most of these teams have 40-man rosters, I think. And
the way it divides up.
And almost zero of them have full ride scholarships.
Yeah.
Right? So if that changes, and you're going to see, again, a concentration of power in the other sports based on the big football schools. I think Mitch is right on.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing about that is, basically what we're describing is a world of college baseball with less parity. And I think right now people look at it and say, the champions always come from the same league or the same area of the country. But look at some of the teams that have made the Men's College World Series in the most recent decade. You've had a few teams from the Big Ten. You've had Indiana. You've had Michigan going all the way to the championship series.
Notre Dame just won a game last night.
Notre Dame just won a game. You had Stony Brook. And so you've had a lot at Coastal Carolina. You had a lot of fun, interesting stories. And I do wonder, in a world where a university or a conference would decide, hey, what are we going to do with baseball scholarships? What are we going to do with volleyball scholarships? In a world where they decide, hey, we're going to give 20 people full scholarships, I do think that would be a large consolidation of power especially into the SEC. And it sucks because the Big Ten, they got so much money, and yet it just does not seem like they care. And so Nebraska will be swimming upstream.
Yeah, but is that a function of money, or is it a function of whether or not they care about winning in baseball? Because it seems like for a lot of the Big Ten for a long time, baseball was an afterthought. It's like, it
still is.
We have a baseball team.
Yeah, I think
and that was the end of the conversation.
Yeah, I think it still is.
It's so until it becomes a big priority, until they're spending more money on it, and, paying people who actually care about baseball, it's going to be the same as it is. Like, things don't change unless they change. It's an easy way to say it.
Come by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside of the Omaha Baseball Village. You can register to win a prize pack of a grill, KC Royals tickets, and ice cream for a year. 13th and Mike Fahey, and we'd like to welcome to our partner ADT Solar, joining us on site this weekend. ADT Solar, powering homes, empowering people. Coming up in the last, not hour, in the last 40 minutes of today's show, Eric Sorensen is going to stop by. We can talk a little bit more about what he saw last night and what he expects to see this afternoon between, first of all, Stanford and Arkansas, and then the nightcap, Auburn and Ole Miss. These these four teams, rather, they've seen each other a combined 4 games. The nightcap, they've seen each other for a weekend series, and then early in the year, Stanford and Arkansas saw each other. Stanford won that game 5-0. Preview everything, injury report, all that more coming up in the final hour next on 1620 The Zone.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we designed the Ford trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 45 years straight. Made for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't designed for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
You've made all sorts of plans for the biggest baseball event of the year, so why not make a game plan for your parking? Park Omaha, in partnership with the Park mobile app, is making it easy for fans to find, reserve, and pay for parking spaces in downtown Omaha before stepping out the door. Don't risk arriving at a full parking lot. Reserve your parking now and never miss the first pitch. Learn more about how you can save your space by visiting parkomaha.com.
At Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, with 2 locations in Greater Omaha, you'll find the Metro's largest selection of wines, beers, spirits, and more. From wall to wall. Enjoy premium samples every day and talk with experts who can help you find your favorites or maybe try something new. There's even a temperature-controlled walk-in wine room and humidor. Don't forget to join the Wall to Wall Rewards program at walltowallwine.com. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits at 132nd and West Center Road and Shadow Lake Town Center in Papillion.
Your home for the Men's College World Series is 1620 The Zone. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Presented by Lanaha Nurseries. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. "1620 The Zone" is live at the Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and by Brookside Medical. Here are Josh Peterson and John Schreiner on 1620 The Zone.
He's John. I'm Josh. This is nice. It's like a normal day. I'm working with a John, though you don't have an H. You don't have an H in your name. Well, I mean, you do. It's just in your last name.
It's transported from my first name to my
last name. Though John has one in his last name, too. He's John Bishop. You're John Schreiner. But we are here for another 39 minutes and 8 seconds, but who is counting? We got later today, Stanford and Arkansas. Bit over an hour from now is when first pitch for those 2 teams will get going. And then Auburn and Ole Miss is the nightcap. There will be a show, as always, in between those games today. It is our dear friends Ravi Lula and Rob Love. They will be on in between. You're sipping on some stuff right now.
So one of the fellas from Jay's Coffee and Donuts, they have a booth down here at Baseball Village. They're next to Orange Leaf. They brought us over these Lotus energy drinks, and I got the peach one. And let me tell you something. This is delicious.
And it's giving you some energy.
Cool. I'm feeling it now. I was starting to drag
three.
a little bit
And now
after
you're
Mitch's
feeling
interview and just felt like losing the energy a little bit. Took a couple of sips of Lotus energy drink. I'm ready to kick somebody in the face.
Well, don't kick me in the face, please. Let's find somebody that that you don't like, and you can kick them in the face. So I'm not going to be totally behind that. I just don't want anyone to get kicked in the face. 1620 The Zone live hydration sponsor is Coors Light. Time for a hydration break presented by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Coming up in this hour, Eric Sorensen. He is going to join us in a little over 10 minutes. So we'll talk about a variety of things with Eric. Also, later on, we'll pick who is going to win the game today. By the way, how about the number that I had earlier from the FanDuel Sportsbook?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Notre Dame gets a win yesterday, and they are the not heavy favorite, but definitely the favorite right now on FanDuel.
That seems like such an overreaction, right? Like, oh, they won the first game. They're the champs.
Yeah, I mean, the math of it all obviously does favor them. They are in the winner's bracket, but you would think that, oh, okay, Josh, does that mean that Oklahoma is the second best odds? No, it is not Oklahoma. So perhaps what you said. Perhaps people are just like, whoa, what's going on?
Well, I mean, perhaps we have some overzealous Notre Dame fans on FanDuel betting up the number.
They've moved the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, how about tomorrow that we'll talk about this with Eric in a few minutes. We're going to get Texas and Texas A&M, two obvious rivals, two soon-to-be conference mates again, and they are going to play in a loser's bracket game. So one of those schools will end the other season. I have loved that we have seen these types of rivalries, these types of matchups lately. Of course, the most famous one of them all, Duke, North Carolina, the game in the end of the regular season, hysterical. Coach K's last game at home, everybody's sad. And then the one in the Final Four. I mean, it's like there were people saying, John, like, man, if you're a North Carolina fan, don't you almost wish that you would have lost and not made it here? Because what if Duke beats you? They get to earn back the win, and then they beat him again. So funny. And now we get another tense game tomorrow, though obviously without the Coach K of it all.
So on Texas and Texas A&M, I don't know if you've listened to any of the press conferences with Texas, but that team has embraced the villain role. Last night when I forget which player it was, one of the players in the press conference was asked, it's Texas A&M now. How are you feeling about playing a rivalry game at the College World Series? Is there any extra juice for it? And the player just said, most teams don't like us. It's just another game. It was almost Darth Vader like everybody hates me and I don't care.
Yeah, hey, embrace it.
The answer was, most teams don't like us. It's just another game.
Yeah, spot the lie. I mean, you can't put a horns down. You'll get in trouble.
Well, they were asked about that in the pre-series press conferences too, and said essentially the same thing. Like, we're hated all over the country. We don't care.
Yeah, it's funny too. I mean, Notre Dame's hated. Texas is hated. Texas A&M. I mean, you got some teams that are disliked, and sometimes it transcends the own sport. To other sports, but you got some programs that people don't like, which I think makes it fun.
I think A&M has like regional hate. I don't think they're hated across the country, but Texas and Notre Dame are definitely two of the teams that if you polled fans, who do you hate most, they would be near the top.
Yeah, they absolutely would be. By the way, coming up, as we mentioned in a little over an hour, is Stanford and Arkansas. Let's take a look at the injury report for this game presented by Methodist Health System. Personalized care when and where you need us. Methodist, the meaning of care. I love, John Schreiner, when we do an injury report and I am able to tell you, all good. Nothing to report. Everything seems okay.
Hey, if it's all good, it's all good, right?
It's all good. We love when there are no injuries to report. So we got nothing for the first game of the day. That's the injury report presented by Methodist Health System. Personalized care when and where you need us. Methodist, the meaning of care. These two teams, I mentioned it last hour, they have seen each other in this season. They've played all the way back in February, a 5-0 win by Stanford. Arkansas, such an interesting season. We talked about it earlier with young Braden.
Braden. I think his name was Braden.
We talked about it with young Braden. A real strong finish to this year. But last year, of course, they were the team going into the championship or going into the tournament. A lot of people thought that they were going to win it all, had a tough series with Nebraska, ended up not even making it to Omaha. And this season, a little up and down for them, and now they are here, and a lot of people are talking about them again like it was last season all over again.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was wondering, like, is Dave Van Horn now starting to tread into Mike Martin of Florida State territory, where he gets here over and over and over and over again, and just can't quite break through and finally win the whole thing? And so it is a bit odd that what was maybe the best, most talented team he's ever had didn't even get here last year.
Yeah.
And the team that had lower expectations that follows that team is here. And, after asking Mike Farron, he thinks that they have what it takes to potentially come out of this side of the bracket. But I think a lot hinges on this game with Stanford today, because it was Stanford and Texas. Like, when Tennessee didn't make it, people was like, okay, it's between Stanford and Texas. These are the two favorites now. These are the two teams that most people think have the best chance to win. And Arkansas facing off with one of those teams. So perhaps Arkansas is playing with house money a little bit. They're playing the favorite.
Yeah.
Coming in as the underdog, and it's the pressure's on Stanford to live up to the billing of the number 2 national seed now. So maybe this is a better situation for Arkansas to be in than being the hunted as they were last year.
Yeah, we'll talk about that game a little bit more coming up next with Eric Sorensen, and then later on in the hour as we give you our picks. But right now, we're happy to be joined by David. David, I hear that you have something delicious for us. What's going on?
Well, firstly, I have a classic cheesesteak, which has steak meat, cheddar cheese sauce on there. I'm pretty sure one of you guys got peppers and onions, if I'm correct. Green bell peppers and sweet onions,
All right, and where do these Phillies come from?
Well, we're down at the food vendor down that way. It's over by the hydration trailer on the right-hand side of the beef jerky trailer.
And what's the name of the restaurant?
We are Game Time Eats.
Game Time Eats. Go get your Philly cheesesteak. They look pass me one of those over here, Josh.
Yeah, you had the one without the peppers and the onions.
Yeah, I like the peppers. I just can't do onions.
David, are you a peppers and onions guy, or do you usually go with just the meat and the cheese?
I personally prefer the meat and the cheese. I mean, that tastes way better, in my opinion. I'm not a peppers and onions fan, so.
Now, the traditional Philly, you get either provolone or the cheese sauce. This looks like you're going with both here.
Well, when I eat the steak and cheese, I prefer no provolone, but I usually eat with provolones just because it holds the bun and the steak and cheese together. Easily as preferred.
Awesome. Well, David, thank you very much. We're going to go to break so we can get to eating. We're very excited.
No problem. And cheesesteaks are for $10, and the peppers and onions are $1 as well.
All right. Thanks, David.
Thank you, David. All right. It is lunchtime. It's lunchtime for a lot of people, starting to thin out a little bit here at the Omaha Baseball Village ahead of that game that we were just talking about, Stanford and Arkansas. First pitch coming up about an hour from this exact moment. Should be another good one. And then the nightcap tonight, Auburn and Ole Miss. We're going to be joined by Eric Sorensen in just a couple of moments. We'll talk about what happened yesterday, what he thought, what he thinks about all the runs, if that's going to continue. We can also look ahead to today's games as well.
Love it. I think today could be even more entertaining than yesterday. The two games on tap today should be awesome.
Should be a lot of fun. Eric Sorensen is going to join us in just a few minutes. We continue the countdown to Stanford and Arkansas here on 1620 The Zone.
Council Bluffs, Omaha. Come on in, I Know a Guy Fireworks. South of the Horseshoe Casino. We have tremendous specials this year just for you. Come get your Thunder Series at I Know a Guy Fireworks, the only place in town that carries it. Hammer Thor, Valhalla Rising, Slick Willie, Torch's Revenge. Get it now while it's here, get it while it's hot. I Know a Guy Fireworks, just south of the Horseshoe Casino. Come get your fireworks, get them all right now. Don't wait, let's get lit.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Summer's here, and there's no better time to call the professionals at Patera Landscaping for the perfect landscape. You've heard the jingle, you've noticed the red Patera trucks, and admired the beautiful Patera landscapes in your neighborhood. Patera has been named Omaha's Best and won Omaha's Choice Award and Reader's Choice Award. So put the best to work for you in creating your perfect landscape. Visit PateraLandscaping.com. That's PateraLandscaping.com. When you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
If you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
Curveballs belong in baseball, not your bank. When you choose Access Bank for your personal or commercial banking needs, you'll know what to expect every time. Personalized, all-in-one service from experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro. Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
Woodhouse offers confidence as your trusted auto partner. With 18 brands and 16 convenient full-service dealerships, you can easily shop the latest models, discover a pre-owned vehicle that meets your list of must-haves, or conveniently maintain your current vehicle. And our knowledgeable and local team is ready to help, providing you the solutions to get you on the road faster, whether online at woodhouse.com or in person. Experience the difference with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
When does a moment become life-changing? How can today make the difference for tomorrow? When envisioning what kind of future is possible, the challenges never stop. And neither do we. Methodist, the meaning of care.
If you're tired of trading one dead-end job for another, trade your job for a career. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers has positions open right now. As an IBEW residential electrician, you'll get training, higher pay, paid health care, retirement, and up to a $1,000 sign-on bonus. Build a better life for you and your family. Make it happen. Call 402-810-0789 right now. That's 402-810-0789. Or get details at IBEW22.org.
Ted Wally celebrating more than 35 years of making the best ice cream on the planet. Truly an Omaha tradition. The ultra premium ice cream is everything you've been told, and they use the best ingredients, many of which locally sourced. That's a bonus. You mix in a little bit of love, that's a good deal. Come on down to the 1620 The Zone location in Baseball Village for your chance to win free ice cream for a year. Ted Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Celebrate more than 35 years with them in Benson or the Old Market.
Hey guys, did you know over 190,000 men were diagnosed with prostate cancer last year? Did you know that Nebraska Cancer Specialists is the first in the region to offer a breakthrough diagnostic that locates prostate cancer for precision treatment? If you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, visit nebraskacancer.com/PSMA today. Nebraska Cancer Specialists. We are your community-based research and cancer care.
In a world of instant expectations, transporting goods are more important than ever. From the concessions and souvenirs to the seats and sports equipment, everything travels by truck. Imagine the complications and people involved to make this happen. Become a part of the excitement. Werner delivers premier transportation and logistics solutions 24/7 with a multitude of careers available. Join us in making a positive impact on the world. At Werner, average is for other people. Apply today by visiting wernercareers.com.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the Omaha Baseball Village here at the Men's College World Series. We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours. He is John Schreiner. I am Josh Peterson, and right now we are happy to welcome to the set Eric Sorensen, D1Baseball.com, the Stitch Head. Eric, we were talking about you. By the way, thank you for coming over. Good to see you again.
Sure, absolutely.
We were singing your praises earlier, though, with Farron.
Of course you were.
Absolutely, because you said it before the tournament started. You talked about Notre Dame, and if they got out of their regional and they went up against Tennessee in the Supers, you like them to make it to Omaha.
Yes,
Here they
I do.
are in the winner's bracket. Congratulations.
You know, I don't like to pat my own back. Screw it. Yeah, I do. I like to pat my own back. But before we get started, there's something I needed to get straight with you about. I have my special assistant, Lady Stitchhead. So on those one beer Fridays,
yes,
I told you a lot of times I have 805 from the Central Coast of California. So I'm bringing you some 805.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Look at that.
Now they're warm. You might need to cool them down a little. And I don't know if you're supposed to share them with John Bishop or not. Maybe we just don't tell him. And
I
you
think
can
I'm
have them
going
all.
to share them with John Schreiner. I won't even tell John about them. Thank you very much.
So there's 805s.
I have a fridge at my house, by the way.
Oh,
All right, what were you asking me about? Oh, Notre Dame.
We were saying how awesome you are, which you are very awesome.
No, I just had a feeling because for the second year in a row, Notre Dame got screwed out of a number one seed. They should have been a number one seed, and last year they should have been a top 8, but they got matched up with Mississippi State. I just thought, and the fact that they have like all seniors, and I think that like all of them maybe went on Mormon missions because they're like 26 or 27 or something. It seems like no, but they're all seniors. 8 of their 9 starters are actually graduates, I should say. And I just thought a team like that has they won 40 some odd games. They've got a lot of experience. They don't kick the ball around a lot. And Tennessee didn't look great. They were just kind of like Arkansas last year heading into the super regionals. They didn't look great in the regionals.
Yeah.
Tennessee had a real tussle with Campbell and was losing to Georgia Tech going into the 9th and came back. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together and kind of, I don't know, reached down and grabbed a set and said, all right, I'm picking Notre Dame. And it just happened to work out, so I look like a genius. But I'm really looking forward to all of the free drinks from the Notre Dame fans this week for picking them. So there you go.
You heard it here. Give Eric Sorensen a free drink for picking
That's
Notre
right.
Dame. So I actually think it's good for the tournament that Tennessee isn't here because it lends itself to there not being a clear-cut favorite that everyone is going to pick. And I think that makes a lot more games like must see, like prime viewing. Am I right about that, or am I reaching for something there?
No, I think you're on to something. I mean, if you look at it, the first game we had, second game we had, the first night game we had was Notre Dame against Texas. 2 brand names. And I think you guys were saying in the previous section, before the break, that everybody hates them across the country. So it kind of makes for intrigue. But yeah, there's certainly not. This was, I thought, the most balanced College World Series in a long time. Everybody, you pick somebody to win it, and you got plenty of reasons to say that this is why they're going to win. Everybody has a reason why, and everybody kind of has a dent in their armor too. So yeah, I think, and the other thing is, Tennessee, they kind of wear a black hat. They're very cocky. They're very brash, and I don't think they're a good influence on the youth of our nation.
Oh, wow. He went there.
No,
he went there. Cancel Tennessee. Tennessee, you're canceled.
I was gonna miss seeing Tennessee play in Omaha again. They went 0-2 last year. I was kind of looking forward to see how they reacted this year, but I just couldn't. I just had a hunch that they were going to have trouble with Notre Dame, and they did.
Biggest story of day one? I mean, is it Notre Dame, or would you go somewhere else?
Yeah, I'd go with Notre Dame, but to me, it's like the biggest story to me is the way Notre Dame and Oklahoma both played very clean baseball for being on this big stage. Not having the experience of being on the big stage of the College World Series, and they played like they were just out there at a fall scrimmage. And Texas kind of played pretty similar too. They played very clean as well. They just got beat by a team that was a little bit better yesterday. But A&M, the thing that surprised me was how bad A&M played. I mean, like you can say Oklahoma beat A&M pretty good, but A&M helped a lot. Notre Dame didn't get any help from Texas because Texas pitched well, played good defense for the most part, and they just earned it, So that was kind of it. I still think Oklahoma and Notre Dame playing really solid baseball was kind of the biggest story to me because that's 2 teams that did not have a lot of experience on the main stage.
So the game today, this afternoon coming up, Stanford, Arkansas. If most people would have said after Tennessee was out that it was kind of Texas and Stanford who they would have picked to maybe be the favorites here. Now, Arkansas, it's interesting. After last year of being the hunted team, they get to kind of be the underdog in this one. How do you see this one playing out?
It's true. then the reason they're underdogs is because they've kind of played pedestrian baseball at times this year, because they are probably the most talented team in Omaha this week.
Oh, really?
I thought they're the most talented team, and they just haven't played like it. If Arkansas kind of flips the switch and plays like they're capable of, I think they'll win this whole thing. But to me, I'm not sure that they're playing like that. Make sure there's no Arkansas fans around as I say that.
Oh, no, they are. They're around.
But I still, Stanford is a good choice. The thing that always helps is having that experience from the year before, and Stanford had that last year. They played pretty well, lost in I think it's 10 or 11 inning game to Vanderbilt to get eliminated. Real heartbreak. So they're kind of on a mission a little bit. So I like Stanford unless Arkansas wakes up and plays just as they're capable of.
Those two teams saw each other back in February. The nightcap, they saw each other in March. Can't really take anything away from that, right?
Not
Given that
really.
they've been so many months.
Yeah, the other thing is Alex Williams for Stanford has pitched so poorly the last 2 weeks, and he's going to be their starter. He's been a great pitcher all year. Just something happened the last few weeks and hasn't pitched well. I saw them in the regionals up at Palo Alto, and if he has another rough start, that could be really detrimental to Arkansas to Stanford in this game.
We were talking last segment, Eric, about what happened at the end of the college basketball season this past season with Notre Dame beating Duke, not only in Coach K's final home game, but then in his literal final home game. I know that tomorrow Texas and Texas A&M won't have those stakes, but those two teams, obviously we know how they feel about each other, and now they're about to be in the same league again. I mean, you want to talk about some bragging rights, this is going to have to be up there.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of fun. Everybody kind of expected it to be the winner's bracket game, but Notre Dame, Oklahoma had other ideas. But, this is one of the things that you kind of look for. Again, Texas had this experience being in Omaha last year. I'm a little surprised that, I think they just played a really good Notre Dame team. But I look for them to beat A&M just because I think A&M just hasn't played clean. And they have, and unfortunately has a history of being really bad here in Omaha. Of all the current, in the modern era, nobody's had a worse winning percentage than Texas A&M here in Omaha. I think they've only won 2 games out of the 12 or 13 they've played now. So I'm going with the Longhorns. But boy, what an atmosphere that's going to be, and real hate there. So I think it's going to be kind of fun.
Eric, before I let you go, we talked about it a little bit earlier. The run scored, that was the story coming into the tournament. We've talked about it with you a few times this season. And then yesterday, highest scoring game ever in the Men's College World Series in this stadium. Highest scoring game in the College World Series since 2008. Surprised at all?
Yes.
And do you like that it's reached this maybe happy medium again?
Yeah, not really. I don't like anything that reminds me of the Gorilla Ball era. It makes me shiver. It wasn't a good look for our sport. But the wind was blowing in, for crying out loud, and these guys were still getting it. Was it 6 home runs yesterday altogether? So that really, that surprised me, and I did not expect that. Usually when you get here, it's all about pitching and defense, and right now we're kind of looking at guys that pitching, defense. Oh, and how big your biceps are to put the ball over the fence. So it's interesting.
How much credence do you lend to the theory that it's because we have so many older players in the game right now?
That's true. I do think there's something to that. Just because I think Coach Jarrett, from Notre Dame was saying it last night, we're probably seeing college baseball at its best right now because we're seeing so many older guys, and maybe the hitting's just passing up the pitching a little bit, because a lot of times pitchers will go to the pros earlier. I think we're just seeing a little bit. Your credence is right. I think the older guys, I think that does have a lot to do with it.
Well, Eric, we appreciate the conversation, but more importantly, we appreciate the brew. Thank
805.
Thank you very much.
You got it, guys.
Great seeing you, and like you said off the air, maybe the first of a few of these.
Oh yeah. My appearance fee will be half price for you guys. It's no problem.
Perfect. Thank you, Eric. Enjoy the game today. That is Eric Sorensen of D1Baseball.com. Come by the zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson and downtown Omaha. We got one segment left.
Say it ain't so.
One segment left, and then I think this is it for you and me together here.
This is it, Josh.
This series.
The last rodeo.
So the next time that I'll be sitting next to you saying words that are broadcasted will be probably during some soccer match in a couple months.
Yeah, you might call me for a fill-in at some point when John decides to take a vacation after the series.
Oh, of course. He took the week before the series off. He'll probably take the week after. Yeah, we'll need you soon enough.
I mean, he teases you about never working, but
he literally took the week of the College World Series
he
off.
did.
Pretty pathetic. I didn't take it. I didn't take it off. And yet here I am. No days off, folks. No days off. He's John Schreiner. I'm Josh Peterson. We will come back. We will wrap up the show, get you ready for Stanford and Arkansas after this on 1620 The Zone.
Twisted Thunder Fireworks is going to save you big money. Twisted Thunder Fireworks are in. Twisted Thunder in Meade, Valparaiso, and their new location in Gretna are open for business on June 25th. The Bennett location just south of Lincoln and the Omaha location at Westroads Mall across from Topgolf are open on June 28th. You'll find the best variety and the lowest prices in the entire state of Nebraska. See page after page of the full inventory online at twistedthunder.com. Go to twistedthunder.com to check out all of our locations and new products and pricing. That's twistedthunder.com.
Oftentimes, the key to winning a baseball game is simple. Focus on the basics and maximize your opportunities. The Simple Man subscribes to a similar philosophy. Simple, well-made, durable goods for men that are as timeless as baseball. From leather goods to grooming items, casual clothing to barware, our focus is simple. Provide quality goods for men in an atmosphere to match. Think English Den meets Old World Pub with a little rustic hardware store mixed in. It's even connected to a barbershop and a bar. Check them out at 87th and Pacific or thesimplemanstore.com.
ED meds are great. They work for erectile dysfunction, but it's time to stop with the pill and think Brookside Medical Clinic. Brookside has the advanced wave technology, which has been proven by Cambridge University to restore and regrow blood vessels. And when you call Brookside now at 402-671-7777, you can get a free blood flow ultrasound and consultation. Remember, you can't play baseball without a bat. Fix your ED problems with the advanced wave technology at Brookside Medical. 402-671-7777.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we designed the Ford trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 45 years straight. Made for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't designed for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
In a world of instant expectations, transporting goods are more important than ever. From the concessions and souvenirs to the seats and sports equipment, everything travels by truck. Imagine the complications and people involved to make this happen. Become a part of the excitement. Werner delivers premier transportation and logistics solutions 24/7 with a multitude of careers available. Join us in making a positive impact on the world. At Werner, average is for other people. Apply today by visiting wernercareers.com.
You've made all sorts of plans for the biggest baseball event of the year, so why not make a game plan for your parking? Park Omaha, in partnership with the Park mobile app, is making it easy for fans to find, reserve, and pay for parking spaces in downtown Omaha before stepping out the door. Don't risk arriving at a full parking lot. Reserve your parking now and never miss the first pitch. Learn more about how you can save your space by visiting parkomaha.com.
Solar panels are happening. They're a way for you to save money on your electricity. Say hello to ADT Solar. ADT, a company known for security, is now excited to offer solar energy to homeowners and the Omaha Metro. Why rent power when you can own it? Increase the value of your home, get a battery, no down payment or zero down. Go green. There's so many benefits to going solar. To get information, go to adtsolar.com. That's go adtsolar.com.
Hey guys, did you know over 190,000 men were diagnosed with prostate cancer last year? Did you know that Nebraska Cancer Specialists is the first in the region to offer a breakthrough diagnostic that locates prostate cancer for precision treatment? If you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, visit nebraskacancer.com/PSMA today. Nebraska Cancer Specialists. We are your community-based research and cancer care.
Now back to the Men's College World Series Special, live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank, Here for a Reason, and Brookside Medical on 1620 The Zone.
Alongside John Schreiner, Josh Peterson, we got Josh Otson down here as well at the Omaha Baseball Village. Chance Oliver back in the Zone studios. We'd like to welcome to our partner ADT Solar joining us on site this weekend. ADT Solar, powering homes, empowering people. It is the last segment of this show. We got Arkansas, we got Stanford. That game coming up in about 40 minutes later on today. Auburn and Ole Miss. In between those two games, you'll have Ravi Lula and Rob Love. We will talk about the Stanford-Arkansas game for the final time in just a moment, but we do got to turn it over to Josh Otson because he has very important news for you.
Yes, it's hot out. That would be the big story.
Dude, it's toasty.
People forget it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Heat advisory issued today and I believe tomorrow and Monday as well. Heat index values ranging from 102 to 108. Today's forecast, windy, hot, and humid, high of 96. Going to feel like 105. Woo! Wind out of the southeast, 15 to 25 miles an hour. Your traffic, which I'm about to do, is presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve a downtown parking space in advance at parkomaha.com. You're going to find the usual slowdowns around Cummings Street, obviously 12th, 13th, and 14th. Basically, the closer you get, the bigger the traffic jam. You can take the shuttles all over town. There's one running from Westroads, one running from the Old Market. I think the one at Old Market costs $0.25. Like, can't beat that. Park and ride.
Wow.
That traffic report brought to you by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve that downtown parking space in advance at parkomaha.com, Josh.
Josh, thank you very much. That's a reminder to me as someone who will be doing the in-between show tomorrow of trying to game plan when to arrive at the stadium before game 2 is always one of those things that every year I kind of forget what my plan is. Like I'm going into it tomorrow and I'm like, I don't know what to do. What now I moved to, John, I live further west now.
Right.
You know, in the last year I lived at 40th and Farnham, basically.
You could have walked if you wanted.
Essentially, 3 years ago, I lived essentially across the street at the Rochester. That was easy. I'd be like, okay, it's time for me to walk. Tomorrow, I don't know. I do not know what time I'm leaving. 5th inning, 4th inning,
Yeah.
6th inning.
I'm that guy who would rather be 15 minutes early than 3 seconds late.
Definitely, especially when we're on the air. That wouldn't be good.
So
It'd be a tough look for me.
And I would rather be 40 minutes early and drive through zero traffic than be on time and drive through all of the traffic. So if you're telling me that the game starts at 1, I'm going to try to be parked in the parking lot by like 12.
Yeah. Well, what about tomorrow when I'm here in between the games?
See, the in-betweenies are tough.
Because you
man.
got the people leaving, you got the people arriving, you got the people just driving.
In that case, you just got to, bite down in your mouthpiece and take the hits.
Yeah, I think tomorrow is a leave during a specific inning kind of game. Like, oh, it's the 4th inning, probably time to go.
Yeah.
That sounds way too early, though, but you never know.
It is way too early, but
the 5th inning, the 6th inning.
Yeah, but I'm also not a leave early guy.
Yeah.
I like to stay until the end. So, yeah, maybe I'm not the best person to be talking to about this. My advice is probably not for everyone.
Yeah, well, I'll figure it out. Hopefully I'm on the air on time tomorrow. I'll be on time.
Hopefully.
I'll be on time.
And I'll be back in the morning with Jimmy for
the
same time, same bat channel.
Nice.
But it's the John and Jimmy show tomorrow morning. So
And then,
we're going to
Robbie
get some
and
guests
yours truly.
lined up.
Awesome.
And we'll be right back here at Baseball Village. You can come down and see us, take a picture, as we've had several people do. And then I just want to, like, my informal people watching poll about the game this afternoon.
Yep.
It's going to be 65% Arkansas.
Okay.
25% Stanford, and the rest neutral.
Okay.
That's my informal, just looking at the number of fans that are walking by down here through Baseball Village. I think it's going to be heavily Arkansas dominated.
The question to ask is, will the locals, who are still a little mad and upset about last year's regional in Fayetteville, will those Nebraska fans root for Arkansas? Because in the old days, they always did. Dave Van Horn, they really want to see him win a national championship. Now, after last year, I still know a few people who are triggered. Just a little upset by it.
Yeah, but I think
don't like them.
I think now that Arkansas isn't the top dog and they're kind of the underdog story, and Dave Van Horn's still chasing that first title, I think that Nebraska fandom is going to jump on that wagon.
Who do you like
overall?
In this first game today.
Oh, I think Arkansas. I really do. I know Stanford's got a great offense, but they haven't pitched well. They had some real struggles in the Super with who they threw, and I think that Arkansas could take advantage of it. And like Mike Farron said, this could be a high-scoring game today. So I like Arkansas in a shootout.
I think I like Arkansas as well. Man, if he is right, I wonder if we're going to see a game today that could end up being higher scoring than the first game that we saw yesterday. I've not actually looked at a total. I'm going to see if I can pull that up real quick before we get out of here. But as we mentioned, the first game yesterday, most runs in a men's College World Series game ever in this ballpark, and it was the most runs in one of these games since 2008. You got to go all the way back to 2008. The totals, by the way, John, for both of the games, 9.5. Gosh.
I would bet the over on both.
I was going to say, it seems like easy money. I mean, Iowa is like right there.
We could see Iowa
Promo code 1620.
if this tent wasn't in our way.
Yeah, seriously, it's right there. The GPS and the fencing, the geofencing. You know all about the geofencing.
I do know about the geofencing.
So that game is coming up. You got a pick for tonight? Go Ole Miss. I'm rooting for Ole Miss. Hotty toddy, folks.
Yeah, I think I will be rooting for Ole Miss. I think
Farron was saying good things about Auburn earlier.
Yeah, I think it's head versus heart in this one. I think, Ole Miss just barely getting in on the bubble. They are the darling, the Cinderella, if you want to have one here.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, Auburn looks strong. Auburn looks real strong, so I'm going to go with the Tigers in that one.
All right, I'll go against you. I'll go Ole Miss, but you and I both like Arkansas in the first game. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate everybody tuning in. It's been a very fun show. We've had delicious drinks. We have eaten. I cannot wait to smash on some sunflower seeds on the way home. That will be awesome. Enjoy the game today. It will be warm, as Josh just mentioned in the weather report. So be sure to have a lot of sunscreen and maybe get a bucket hat like Happer did.
Should we go through all the folks who gave us freebies today? We had Jay's Coffee and Donuts. Go check them out for the Lotus energy drink, the Chinook sunflower seeds. We got the lemonade stand that's down here in Omaha Baseball Village, and Game Time Eats.
Man.
Thanks to them for bringing the Phillies by. And if you want to have your name read on the radio, be sure to stop by and see myself and Jimmy Allen tomorrow morning between 10 and 12:40.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Enjoy the baseball games today. John and Gary will have you covered. Happer down on the field in both games today, and then in between that, it will be Ravi and Rob Love. For Chance back in the studio, for Josh right here, my partner in crime today, John Schreiner, I am Josh Peterson. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have fun watching the baseball. Goodbye.
In association with 1620 The Zone, Westwood One, and the NCAA Radio Network present the Men's College World Series, sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family.
Nolan bunts up the third base line to James to throw across the diamond. He got him! And it took 126 years, but doggone it, Mississippi State finally has a national title. The first team title in any sport in school history.
Now, from the Patera Landscaping broadcast booth at Charles Schwab Field.